The first thing I did after being reborn as a juvenile megalodon was to turn myself in to the government immediately, kicking off a nationwide feeding program for 1.4 billion people. All because of the wastewater and emissions from Sakura country. In just 2 months, all marine life will mutate. By then, the entire blue planet will become a hunting ground for mutated beasts. Human nuclear weapons are as feeble as toy firecrackers against these beasts. In less than a month, 99% of humanity will be wiped out. In my previous life, during the 5th and final battle to protect Waxia, I died fighting in the jaws of a mutated beast. When I woke up again, I had been reborn as a juvenile megalodon, and I awakened the devouring evolution system. As long as I keep devouring, I can keep evolving endlessly. At this moment, relying on my keen senses, I spotted a group of sea turtles nearby. Ding! Devouring can grant evolution points. Each point has a chance to unlock this species' special skills. Among the turtle group, there was actually an injured sea turtle. The strong scent of blood attracted several sharks. Right after that, a great white shark, nearly 4 meters long, suddenly appeared. Warning, predator detected. Intruding creature. Devouring the great white shark will grant evolution points. 3 points. 5% chance to acquire the short-range burst skill. My pupils contracted sharply. I could never forget this great white shark, even in death. On the 3rd day of the previous beast outbreak, it was this shark's mutated form, steeljaw shark, that crushed the rescue boat I was protecting. All 37 unarmed civilians on board became its meal. Before being reborn, that was the first time I ever felt so powerless. The 4-meter great white moved like a silver torpedo, suddenly bursting into the turtle group. The hard turtle shells, against its dagger-like teeth, were as fragile as paper. Blood instantly stained the entire sea red. The surrounding sharks immediately became restless, quickly swarming to share the feast. I struggled to suppress my hunger to feed, quietly approaching the great white shark. While he was distracted, I put all my strength into my tail fin. My 3-meter-long body shot out like a launched shell, slamming hard into the great white's belly. The sound of shattering bones exploded through the seawater. The great white let out a tremulous cry of pain. Its whole body blasted out of the water by my attack. It traced a chilling arc through the air and crashed back into the sea with a heavy splash. Before it could turn to fight back, my sharp, triangular teeth were already sunk deep into its gill slits. That's a shark's most lethal weak spot. Host has successfully devoured the great white shark. Evolution points gained, 3. Congratulations, host. You've triggered a skill draw and acquired a species skill. Beginner short-range burst. A surge of strength flooded my entire body, but I had no idea that my stunning move of launching the great white shark was captured in its entirety by a young fisherman holding a cell phone on a nearby boat. He filmed the whole thing. His name is Xiao Wu. In the previous apocalypse, it was him, rowing a small wooden boat through dangerous waterways, who delivered the last batch of fresh water and food to me as I defended the front lines. He was ultimately torn apart by mutated seabirds on the sea. Half an hour later, the video titled "Prehistoric Megalodon Tosses Great White Shark" went viral in an instant. It completely exploded across the internet. Over 100 million views in just 1 hour. The viral video also caught one person's attention. World-renowned biologist Jeremy Ward. This old man had spent his whole life pursuing deep-sea monsters relentlessly. At first sight of the video, he clenched his fists in excitement. 3 days later, a top-tier research vessel arrived at the location where the video was shot. Jeremy suited up in full deep-sea anti-shark armor and, ignoring his assistant's protests, insisted on diving into those waters. He had the crew throw large amounts of fish parts into the sea. The blood in the water quickly attracted dozens of sharks. But the mysterious giant shark he was after still hadn't shown up. I was on the seafloor, 100 meters deep, keenly sensing Jeremy inside his anti-shark pod. Slowly, I started moving my tail fin, swimming toward the pod. A massive shadow loomed over the seafloor. The other sharks scattered instantly, completely forgetting their predatory instincts through the pod's reinforced glass. Jeremy saw me approaching. His pupils shrank sharply. He had seen countless deep-sea giants, But never before had he looked into a shark's eyes and seen such intelligence and composure. There was no bloodthirsty ferocity at all, only a profound, almost compassionate calm. I stopped in front of the pod. No ramming, no biting. I merely nudged the glass gently with my snout. Jeremy froze for a few seconds. Then, trembling, reached out his hand and pressed it to my snout through the glass. He could see clearly the dagger-like teeth in my mouth, sharp as knives. If I wanted to, both the glass and his body could be torn to shreds in an instant. I gently swished my tail at him, creating currents through the water that formed rhythmic vibrations. It was Morse code, warning of mutant threats from wastewater. Danger. Jeremy's face went pale instantly. Having studied marine life his whole career, he knew better than anyone how impossible it was for wastewater to damage ocean genes. Yet in that moment he understood my message. Every drop of his blood ran cold. Having delivered my warning, I turned and flicked my tail, disappearing into the deep sea, fading into the darkness beneath the waves. Jeremy frantically yanked the communicator cable and shouted at his assistant on the boat. Surface now. I have to make this discovery public. This shark isn't a monster. It's warning us. A catastrophic disaster is coming. Jeremy's video and research statement swept the globe within 24 hours. My massive figure swimming through the sea in the video, and the scene where I touched him through the glass, blew up the internet completely. Just watching made my legs weak. Are those teeth really strong enough to chew up an aircraft carrier? He actually has intelligence. The professor says it's giving a warning. What is this? Child of the ocean, for sure. And those people who said drinking contaminated water was harmless. Come out and explain yourselves. Even a prehistoric megalodon has more conscience than you. In just one night, countless internet celebrities, explorers, and thrill seekers flocked here, turning this sea into the world's hottest check-in spot. What they don't realize is that the waters they so eagerly flock to have already become a hotbed of nuclear mutation. I'm 1,000 meters below, at the ocean's floor, chasing a bizarre deep-sea fish, when the system alarm suddenly blared. Detecting mutant aberrant octopus. Body length, 8 meters. Level, 5. Nuclear radiation. Early stage. Devour mutant for 5 evolution points. 10% chance to acquire species skill. Master of disguise. In the thick darkness, massive tentacles tore through the water like steel whips, lunging straight at my face. These octopus tentacles are lined with cunning suction cups, and the severed ends are regenerating before my eyes. Radiation has thoroughly scrambled its genes. I whipped my tail fin powerfully, activating short-range burst. Instantly dodged the tentacle's lethal strangulation. The cold tips of the tentacles brushed against my skin. The resulting currents scraped my skin, making it sting. In my past life, this variant of the mutant octopus was one of the most troublesome monsters on the coastal defense line. Their tentacles could pierce through steel plates. Their regenerative abilities were insanely strong. Countless soldiers died in their strangling grip. More tentacles surged from the darkness, surrounding me completely. Instead of retreating, I advanced. With a sudden lunge, I bit down frantically at the base of the tentacles. The tentacles I bit off fell to the seabed, still squirming wildly. New tentacle tips grew back instantly. Just as I was locked in combat with the mutant octopus, human screams came from the surface. A viral video speedboat was stopped nearby. The streamer was holding up a phone and yelling at the sea. He threw several pieces of whale meat into the water. The scent of blood completely enraged the mutant octopus. The mutant octopus suddenly gave up its attack on me as several tentacles burst out of the water with a roar, tightening around the ankle of a girl on the speedboat, dragging her into the sea in an instant. The girl's screams cut off abruptly. The water was instantly stained red with blood. The people on the boat were paralyzed with fear. The streamer frantically turned the rudder like a madman, trying to escape this sea of death. But the mutant octopus had no intention of letting them go. More tentacles wrapped around the boat's hull. The fiberglass hull made an unbearable cracking sound. Watching this scene, memories from my past life surged again. This exact scene played out countless times during the apocalypse. Unarmed humans didn't even have a chance to struggle against mutant beasts. I flicked my tail violently. My entire body shot out of the water like a cannonball. opening my massive maw. I bit down on the main body of the mutant octopus. Sharp teeth instantly pierced its flesh. I ignored its tentacles frantically whipping my body, and refused to let go until I had completely crushed its torso. Host successfully devoured mutant deformed octopus. Gained 5 evolution points. Ding. Congratulations, host. Triggered skill draw. Obtained species skill Camo Master. Novice level. Ding. Detected host devoured a radiation mutant. Awakening. Passive skill. Radiation immunity. Novice level. I snapped out of it at the sound of the system prompt, and saw the girl who had been dragged underwater, sinking continuously toward the ocean floor. She had already lost consciousness. Her name is Sue Wan. In my past life, she was a field medic on the East Sea Defense Line. When I was gravely injured and near death, she braved the mutant beast's fire to give me emergency treatment. In the end, while covering the evacuation of civilians, she died under the fangs of a mutant sea snake. I swung my massive tail, swam underneath her, and steadily supported her on my broad back. Her limp body slowly floated up as I brought her to the side of the speedboat. The people on the boat were dumbfounded with fear until I gently nudged the girl's body with my snout. Only then did they react. Frantically pulling the girl onto the boat, I watched as they rescued her, then turned and flicked my tail, disappearing beneath the waves. And this entire scene was broadcasted live by the streamer on the boat. The number of live viewers instantly surpassed 10 million. Jinghao, intelligent giant shark rescues human. Jinghao, son of the ocean. The tags for Jinghao topped the global trending lists. Countless people watched the video of me tearing the mutant octopus apart in one bite, and then gently bringing the girl to the boat. The footage completely moved them to tears, but no one knew. On the other side of the world, in a top-secret biological research facility, this video was playing on loop on a large screen. The head of the facility, Dr. Rosen, stared at me on the screen, with eyes filled with fanatical greed. This madman, in the past life, it was him, who secretly endorsed the discharge of nuclear wastewater, and even conducted private radiation mutation experiments on marine life. The outbreak of the beast tide. He was responsible for at least half of it. He was only 3 meters long when he escaped, but grew to 8 meters in just a few weeks. Dr. Rosen's finger tapped the screen aggressively.
He roared at the researchers behind him.
I don't care what species he is, or why he grows so fast. I want you to capture him. Alive! I want to slice him up for research. I want to uncover the genetic secrets of this ancient creature. The researchers behind him trembled, not daring to talk back. No one knew that Dr. Rosen had already partnered with the illegal global bio group, Abyss Hunters, to form a collaboration.
They
had already dispatched their most elite deep-sea capture fleet, heading toward my location at full speed. Unaware of all this, I headed straight down, diving into the pitch-black deep sea at 2,000 meters. This is a place where sunlight never reaches. Water pressure here can crush an ordinary submarine into a pancake. But to me now, it was like a private garden. Detection complete. Species, deep-sea anglerfish. Devouring it grants 1 evolution point. 3% chance to obtain species skill. Photo 4. I ate them one by one, crunching the anglerfish that swarmed me. The Photo 4 skill seemed useless, but from my past life I knew. In the later stages, there are many bioluminescent deep-sea mutant species. This skill would become their nemesis. Just then, the harsh sound of metal grinding came from the distance. A human deep-sea probe was wobbling its way downward. The alarm lights on the probe were flashing frantically. It had clearly exceeded its depth limit. Inside the probe, a man and a woman stared at the screen. The woman is named Xia Yu. She is a top deep-sea exploration expert in the country. The man is her assistant. In the past life, it was the probe Xia Yu piloted during the peak of the beast tide that provided us with the movements of the beasts. In the end, the probe was shredded by the monsters, and not even her bones remained. Try one more time. This is a perfect opportunity to break the world record. Xia Yu gripped the control stick tightly, ignoring her assistant's protests, insisting on continuing the descent. Professor, our lives are more important. The water pressure has reached its limit. We can get the data next time. The assistant's voice carried a hint of sobbing. A second later, a dull impact rang out. The entire probe shook violently. The two were thrown hard against the cabin wall. Xia Yu looked out through the viewport. Her pupils suddenly constricted. Two massive shadows were tearing at each other in the pitch-black deep sea. One of them was me. Detected species, giant squid. Length, 18 meters. Level 7. Early stage mutant. Devouring it grants 10 evolution points. 8% chance to obtain species skill. Deep sea stealth. The tentacles of this giant squid were as thick as steel cables. The suckers were lined with sharp hooks, whipping violently against my body. In an instant, several bloody scratches appeared. He is the apex predator of the deep sea. Nuclear radiation caused his size and strength to multiply several times over. In my previous life, this mutated giant squid could easily overturn a 10,000-ton cargo ship. Its tentacles wrapped around my torso. A suffocating sensation hit me instantly. I've tangled with this monster countless times in my past life. I know his weaknesses all too well. I suddenly turned my head and bit down on his thickest main tentacle. My sharp teeth instantly severed his nerves. The intense pain made him let go of his tentacle abruptly, instinctively trying to break free, but I gave him no chance at all. Short-range acceleration triggered instantly. My whole body charged upward. I bit into his head. No matter how the remaining tentacles wildly lashed my body, I still held on with my jaws, until his struggle grew weaker and weaker. Finally, he completely lost all movement.
Ding! Host successfully devoured the mutated giant squid.
Evolution points gained. 10 points. Ding. Congratulations, host. Skill extraction triggered. Species skill acquired. Deep sea advance. Primary level. Host's level has increased to 7. Body length has grown to 12 meters. Unlocked. Deep sea maximum water pressure immunity. I shook the blood and grime off my body. Looking up, I saw the deep sea probe not far away. I remember Xia Yu. Remember everything he did for humanity in his past life. I slowly swam up to the probe. Didn't attack. Just gently touched the observation window with my snout. Xia Yu watched this massive creature from inside the cabin. His whole body was trembling. He just saw this giant shark tear apart the giant squid that could even trap a submarine. But now there wasn't a trace of hostility in his eyes. Only a kind of familiar gentleness he couldn't understand. I signaled to the probe, and once again used my body to tap out Morse code. Nuclear wastewater becomes unstable after 2 months. Total collapse. Huaxia East Sea Defense Line. Prepare ahead of time. Xia Yu instantly froze. His teacher, Zhao Yingquan, the nation's top marine biology and nuclear radiation expert, has been frantically warning about nuclear wastewater recently, saying it will cause disastrous gene mutations in marine life, but no one listened.
Now,
This intelligent prehistoric giant shark is sending a message that matches his teacher's research perfectly. I finished delivering my warning, turned and activated deep sea advance. Vanished into the pitch-black depths, Xia Yu frantically operated the probe's controls. He had to get back immediately and tell his teacher everything. Half a day later, Xia Yu reached the shore and rushed into his teacher Zhao Yingquan's office. Zhao Yingquan was sitting in front of the screen, replaying the video of me ramming the great white shark, a deep frown on his face. This elderly man with graying hair, in his previous life, was the commander-in-chief of the Huaxia East Sea Defense Line. In the last battle, he pressed the nuclear detonation button and died together with the mutant beast horde that rushed in. He died in the same place as me. Teacher, look. Xia Yu plugged the USB into the TV. On the screen, the scene of me fighting the giant squid appeared instantly, and the footage of me pausing in front of the probe. This is the shark. It's not just intelligent. It's actually warning us about the wastewater. There will be a mutant beast horde in 2 months. Zhao Yingquan stared at me on the screen, suddenly clenched both fists, his knuckles turning white. He'd spent his whole life studying marine ecology, and after the wastewater discharge, the genetic mutation data of marine organisms he detected had long exceeded safety levels by thousands of times. He always thought he was going crazy, until now, when he saw the message I sent. Just then, an urgent phone call sounded. Zhao Yingquan quickly picked up the phone. The news from the other end made him furiously yell into the receiver. What? They're still dumping more. Those lunatic maniacs. He didn't have time to explain to Sha Yu, grabbed his coat and rushed out the door. He needed to get to the capital immediately, to report all the data and warnings. He knew time was truly running out for humanity. At this moment, I was in the deep West Pacific, devouring and evolving along the way. I leveled my Master of Disguise skill to level 2. Now I can mimic the form of any marine creature. Duration, 60 minutes. This skill saved my life countless times in my past life. Ding! Creature detected. Pacific green sea turtle. Devouring results in evolution. Tap to evolve. My mind moved. Master of Disguise activated instantly. My massive form twisted and morphed in the water. In a flash I became a green sea turtle identical to the others nearby, silently blended into the group of turtles. The lead turtle sensed something unusual, swam over and sized me up for a moment, but eventually lowered its guard and led the turtle group toward the beach ahead. Half an hour later, the turtle group reached the shore, but before they could climb onto land, loud engine noises from fishing boats echoed. Several fishing boats rushed over. People on the boats holding nets and iron hooks, without a word, started dragging the egg-laying turtles onto the boats. Screams echoed one after another. The boats quickly filled up. These people are affiliates of the Abyssal Hunters group. They capture sea turtles as raw materials for their radiation mutation experiments. Countless marine creatures in my past life were destroyed in their experiments. My Master of Disguise wore off just then. My giant Megalodon form instantly returned. I rammed straight into the bottom of the fishing boat. The whole boat crumpled like paper. I sank it in an instant. The people on board all jumped into the sea, desperately swimming for the shore. I swished my tail, and the waves send them flying away. Whether they make it to shore alive depends on their own luck. After finishing all this, I turned and swam toward the deep sea, but I hadn't gone far when the system's red alert blared suddenly. Ding! Warning! High-intensity active sonar detected. Locking onto source. Abyssal Hunter Encirclement Fleet. 5 destroyers and support vessels in total. Converging on host location. Warning! Depth charges detected. Evade immediately. My heart sank. These maniacs really used military-grade hunting equipment just to catch me, without any regard for marine ecology. In my past life, I was trapped by their sonar weapons and severely injured by depth charges, which made me powerless at the final defensive line. I didn't hesitate for a second. Deep sea advance. Initiate at once. I dove rapidly toward 3,000 meters beneath the sea, but the depth charges were already closing in behind me. Terrifying explosions erupted continuously around me. The shockwaves slammed into me like a heavy sledgehammer. I was instantly shaken, the world spinning around me. My dive was abruptly cut short. Reporting, Captain. Depth charges have covered the designated area. The shockwave confirms a direct hit. The target's diving trajectory has been interrupted. Current depth, 300 meters underwater. Deploy the acoustic jammers. Completely block his descent route. Send in the underwater assault team. I want him alive. The fleet commander's voice came through to my senses via sonar. A wave of intense pain swept through my body. Fragments from the explosion tore through my skin, leaving several deep wounds that exposed the bone. Blood kept pouring into the sea. 3 fully armed divers had already jumped from the ship and were rapidly diving toward my position. They carried tranquilizer guns. The drugs in the guns were specially developed for giant marine creatures. Once they hit, even a blue whale would instantly lose consciousness. But they didn't know. This deep sea is not their territory. It's mine. The diver team leader had just reached 200 meters when he suddenly let out a terrified scream over the communicator. Ito is gone. Before he finished speaking, a mutated tentacle shot out from the darkness, instantly wrapping around the second diver and dragged him into the endless dark. The communicator was abruptly cut off by his scream. The elite diver leader was terrified and swam toward the surface like a madman. What they saw was my Master of Disguise in action, simulating a deformed octopus tentacle. I watched him desperately trying to surface, then darted up at once, and it bit through his oxygen tank in one snap. Then I transformed to look just like him, and floated up to the surface. The patrols on the ship saw me come up and immediately rushed over. They pulled me onto the ship and rushed me to the infirmary. Lying on the hospital bed, I slowly opened my eyes, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. These lunatics nearly killed me at the bottom of the sea. I'll pay them back 100-fold. Just then, Fleet Commander Kenji Fujiwara walked in. He's the head of Abyss Hunter Group's Asia-Pacific Division. In my past life, he led countless hunts for me. His hands are stained with the blood of many marine creatures and humans. Blood stained the seawater red instantly. The young orca let out a cry of agony. Blackback's eyes turned red with rage in an instant.
He turned and charged toward the mutant orca.
But he was no match for the mutant at all. In just one encounter, he was slammed hard against the ice floe by the mutant orca. The ice floe shattered instantly. Blackback let out a painful, muffled groan. In my previous life, Blackback's pod was completely slaughtered by this kind of mutant orca. He was the only survivor who fought alongside me. In this life, I will never let that tragedy happen again. I gave my tail fin a powerful flick. Short-range acceleration triggered instantly. My 21-meter-long body charged forward like a cannonball. At the exact moment the mutant orca was about to crush Blackback's skull, I bit down on its torso. Sharp teeth instantly pierced through its mutated skin, sinking deep into its bones. The mutant orca let out a frenzied roar. It turned and slammed its head violently into my abdomen, but I refused to let go. No matter how hard it struck, I held onto its body with a death grip until I had bitten its torso completely in half. Host successfully devoured a heavily mutated orca. Gained 20 evolution points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for triggering skill draw. Obtain species skill. Sonic deterrence. Basic. Ding. Host level increased to 11. Body length increased to 22 meters. I shook the blood and filth off my head. I turned to look at Blackback. He led the orca pod as they slowly surrounded me. They didn't attack. He just gently touched my body with his rostrum, emitting a series of gentle chirps. He was thanking me. He recognized me. I saved him in his pod. From that day on, Blackback led his pod and followed behind me. I had my first team of my own. In this ocean that was about to turn into hell, I was no longer fighting alone. 3 days later, we were patrolling the Arctic Ocean. Suddenly, I heard a sound from the surface. A child's scream. I led Blackback to the surface. I saw another small wooden boat overturned by a group of orcas. Several indigenous Arctic children had fallen into the sea. An orca had grabbed one of the boys by the ankle, dragging him down into the deep sea. That boy's name was Akong. He was the son of the Arctic indigenous tribal chief. After the outbreak of the beast tide in my previous life, the Arctic became the lost sanctuary for humanity. Akong's tribe took in hundreds of thousands of fleeing civilians. Eventually, they were besieged by mutated beasts. The entire tribe fought to the death. Not a single person surrendered. I watched the boy gradually lose consciousness in the water. Memories of my past life surged again. I flicked my tail and charged forward. I bit down on the orca that was harming the child, tearing it into pieces instantly. Blackback led the pod and rushed up, surrounding the remaining aggressive orcas. They cleared them out in the blink of an eye. I dove beneath Akong, using my back to lift him out of the water. I delivered him to the side of the overturned wooden boat. The other children scrambled to pull Akong onto the boat. Looking at my massive body, there was no fear in their eyes, only shock and gratitude. I transformed into human form and climbed onto the small boat. The children were all startled, but seeing me perform first aid on Akong, they all calmed down. Soon, Akong coughed up some seawater and woke up. Just then, a fishing boat slowly approached. The captain was Akong's uncle, Zhang Wei, a true blue Chinese fisherman who had been fishing in the Arctic Ocean for years. When he saw the overturned boat, he rushed over like crazy. He brought us all onto his ship. Upon learning that I had saved Akong, Zhang Wei was incoherently excited. He insisted on inviting me to their tribe as a guest. I didn't refuse. I knew that in the coming apocalypse, this tribe would become one of humanity's strongest fortresses. Half a day later, we arrived. The tribal chief, Ares, Putic Yang's father, learned that I had saved his son.
He walked straight up to me
and gave me a deep bow. Thank you, warrior of the blue. You are a benefactor to the Pute family. Please tell me, how can I repay you? I quickly helped him up. I said, "It was nothing, just a helping hand. Don't take it to heart. Just find me a place to stay for the night." Aries Pute burst into laughter after hearing this. He patted my shoulder and said, "My home is your home. Stay as long as you want." That night, Aries Pute held a grand welcome party for me. Everyone in the tribe gathered around, presenting me with their most precious gifts, thanking me repeatedly. After a few rounds of drinks, I saw an elder of the tribe sitting by the campfire, telling stories to the children. "Matsushita, do you feel better now? What exactly happened under the sea?" I pretended to be weak and asked, "I don't understand." "Why?" "Our target for this mission was just a shark." Fujiwara Kenji sighed, his voice filled with frustration. It was Dr. Lawson's order. "In the genes of this shark, the secrets of ancient creatures are hidden, along with the ability to resist nuclear radiation. As long as we capture it, we can control the future of the entire ocean." I sneered inwardly. "Control the future? You madmen. We'll only drag the whole world into hell." I stood up and said to Fujiwara Kenji, "Since you want to know what happened underwater so badly, then follow me." He didn't suspect a thing and followed me out of the infirmary. I led him to the ship's railing. Before he could react, I instantly reverted to my Megalodon form. My massive head slammed violently into the railing. The entire destroyer instantly had a massive hole smashed into it by me. Seawater poured in frantically. Fujiwara Kenji looked at me in horror. He couldn't even let out a scream. Before being swept into the sea by the waves I created, I opened my massive jaws and bit down on the armed personnel following him. The rifles in their hands fired at me, but they couldn't even pierce my skin. Ding! Host successfully devoured human armed personnel.
Gain 2 evolution points.
Ding! Warning. The remaining 4 destroyers have locked onto the host. Torpedoes have been launched. Please evade immediately. I looked at the torpedoes rushing toward me. Short-range acceleration triggered instantly. I dove rapidly toward the deep sea. The torpedoes exploded behind me, and the shockwave swept through again. But this time, I was well prepared. Using the momentum of the current, I charged directly under the fleet's hulls. For the next half hour, this stretch of sea became my hunting ground. I used Master of Disguise to mimic a reef, mimic an orca, mimic anything I could think of. Through one ambush after another, the destroyers fell before me, like it was made of paper, sank one after another. Host successfully destroyed the Abyssal Hunter Encirclement Fleet. Gained 50 evolution points. Disguise Master Skill upgraded to level 3. Can mimic any object's form. Duration 24 hours. Devour skill upgraded to level 2 Devour. Evolution points gained are doubled. Host level increased to 10. Body length increased to 20 meters. Weight 100 tons. Fully unlocked basic genetic code of the prehistoric Megalodon. I looked at the system panel. There was only one thought in my mind. This is just the beginning. What you all owed me in my previous life. What you owed to this ocean. What you owed to all humanity. I will take it all back, bit by bit. The news that the Abyssal Hunter Encirclement Fleet was completely destroyed reached Dr. Lawson's ears. He stared at the satellite images. All 5 destroyers sunk in the Pacific. He was so angry that his whole body was shaking.
He swept all the instruments off his desk in a fit of rage.
Useless. All of you are useless. Can't even catch a single shark. The researchers beside him were so scared they barely dared to breathe. Nervously asked Dr. Lawson, "What should we do now?" Dr. Lawson took a deep breath. The fanaticism in his eyes grew stronger. They startled their target. This shark will definitely leave these waters. Track every satellite across the globe. Not a single frame of footage. Not even a single abnormal pixel can be missed. If he shows up at all, report to me immediately. I must catch him. But he didn't know. I had already left the Western Pacific. Using Disguise Master and swimming through the deep sea, I made my way from the Western Pacific to the Arctic Ocean. In just 3 days, I devoured countless deep-sea predators. My body length has reached 21 meters. My weight surpassed 110 tons, becoming in this ocean the undisputed apex predator. That day, I was cruising beneath the Arctic ice floes. The system alert suddenly sounded ding. Orca pod detected. Total of 12. The leading male is 9 meters long. Level 8. Devouring 1 grants 5 evolution points. Before the system alert faded, the orca pod suddenly launched an attack on me. The leading orca rammed into me with full force. The huge impact knocked me back dozens of meters. I recovered from the collision and instantly recognized him. Blackfin in my past life. He was the only one, the only orca leader willing to fight by my side. At the last stand on the East Sea defense line, he led the orca pod into the mutant beast lair to cover for me, and together with a 50-meter-long mutant Mosasaurus, he died in a mutual kill, right in front of me. I looked at him and didn't strike back. I could clearly sense the wounds on his body. There were several young orcas in the pod. They didn't see me as prey. They saw me as a threat. They were protecting their young. Just then, the system's red alert sounded again. Warning. Mutant creature detected. Aberrant orca. Body length, 12 meters. Level 10. Severe nuclear radiation. Mutant is charging towards the orca pod at high speed. In the dark ocean, an orca covered in twisted mutated tumors rushed out. Its teeth turned outward, and its eyes were crazed with bloodlust. It instantly bit down on the tail fin of a young orca. The story goes that long ago, beneath the ocean, there lay an ancient city called Atlantis. Within it was buried the sea god's core. It held the power to control the ocean, able to drive away all darkness and evil. Only a true, kind-hearted guardian of the sea could find the ancient city and awaken the sea god's power. My heart suddenly trembled. In my previous life, I had heard the legend of Atlantis countless times, but never found a trace of it. But the elder spoke with such realism. He even described the location of the city and the path beneath the sea with absolute clarity. Even more importantly, the core of the sea god he spoke of was likely the key to fighting against the beast tide 2 months from now. In my past life, we fought with everything we had, yet could barely hold back the beast's assault. There was simply no way to counterattack. If the sea god's core truly exists, this time, not only could we hold the line, we could even wipe out these mutated monsters completely and stop the apocalypse from coming. After returning to my room, the elder's words kept echoing in my mind. I couldn't sit still any longer. I had to go see for myself. I must find Atlantis, find the core of the sea god. Early the next morning, I said goodbye to the people of the tribe and arrived at a remote part of the ocean. Instantly, I reverted to my megashark form, and, with Blackback and the pod of orcas, quickly dove for the underwater area the elder described. We searched the seabed for a full 6 hours, but found nothing. Just when I lost all hope and was about to give up, Blackback suddenly let out a sharp cry of alarm. His snout pointed toward a spot on the ocean floor. I swam over and found on the rock wall a bottomless undersea channel. The tunnel's stone walls were carved with countless ancient markings, exactly as the elder described in his story. At the end of the passage, very likely lay the legendary Atlantis. I didn't hesitate at all, and, with Blackback, plunged right into the channel. It was pitch black inside, and the water pressure kept increasing. Even I started to feel the intense squeeze. After a whole hour, the scene before my eyes suddenly opened up. A massive underwater city appeared before me. The entire city was made of solid gold. Huge palaces and towering statues, and intact streets, cast a faint golden glow in the deep sea. Even after millions of years in slumber, its former glory was still clear to see. Atlantis is real. With Blackback, I slowly swam into the ancient city. Just as I was marveling at the magnificence of the city, an earth-shaking roar came from the very depths of the ancient ruins. The water all around shook violently in response. Ding detected top-level mutant creature. This mighty Leviathan is 50 meters long. Level 20 ultimate nuclear mutant. Devour to gain 100 evolution points. 20% chance to acquire the species skill. Superior defense. Before I could react, a gigantic figure burst out of the darkness. Its body was as massive as a mountain, covered in steel-hard scales all over, its mouth packed with hair-like fangs, and a pair of scarlet eyes locked right on me, emitting a savage, bloodthirsty glow. Death Leviathan, one of the top predators in the beast tide of my previous life. It was he who led the beast tide, and tore apart the first eastern sea barrier. Hundreds of thousands of warriors died by his hand. I dueled him for 3 days and nights, and only barely managed to drive him away. Almost dying myself, he lunged at me with his massive maw open wide. Foul, stinking breath flooding toward me. The water displaced by his enormous body pinned me down with crushing force. I instantly activated short-range acceleration, dodging his lethal bite by a hair's breadth. I twisted behind him and bit off a chunk of his tail. Flesh. The searing pain from the wound made Leviathan let out a wild roar as he spun around. His massive tail slammed squarely into me. It was like being hit by a cannonball, and I was sent crashing into the Golden Palace wall. The wall broke apart instantly, and I coughed up a mouthful of blood. Seeing me hurt, Blackback and the orcapod rushed in, furiously attacking Leviathan. But their attacks bounced off his scales, not even leaving a scratch. Leviathan simply swept his tail and sent Blackback hurtling away. The orcapod was instantly devastated, just as I was ready to charge in again. Another deafening roar shook the ruins. A second, even larger death Leviathan swam out from the deep city. This one was 60 meters long and had reached level 22. The injured female Leviathan nuzzled close to the male's body and let out a pitiful whimper. My heart sank. Oh great, I was fighting one. And now it was a pair. Talk about picking on the single shark. The two death Leviathans charged at me in perfect sync. Their attacks were seamlessly coordinated, leaving me no room to dodge. In just a single exchange, the male Leviathan slammed me viciously against the seabed. The force made the entire seabed tremble. Blinding pain shot through every part of me, and several of my bones were broken. At the edge of death, memories from my past life surged like a tide, flashing through my mind. The desperate cries of the people when the Eastern defense fell. The final salutes of my comrades as they pressed the self-destruct. When Blackback went down fighting against the beasts, he glanced back at me one last time. General Zhao Yingquan and the beast tide were swallowed up in the nuclear blast, standing tall to the very end. And all those I failed to protect. Those who died terribly in the apocalypse. And those lost forever in the darkness. In my past life, I gave everything I had, yet still could not hold the line. In this life I returned anew. So how could I fall here? An unprecedented surge of strength burst from within me as I watched the two Leviathans charging at me moving along the seafloor. Camouflage master triggered in an instant. My body twisted and transformed rapidly in the water. And in a blink, I looked exactly like the female Leviathan. The two charging Leviathans froze, unable to tell who their real companion was. Taking advantage of that moment, I quickly swam to the female Leviathan's side. Before she could react, I opened wide my jaws and clamped down hard on her gills, her most fatal weak point. I used all my might, and my teeth pierced her artery in an instant. Blood instantly stained all of Atlantis red. The female Leviathan let out a final desperate wail, thrashing violently, then finally went completely still. Host successfully devoured the female. Death Leviathan has gained 100 evolution points. Host level has increased to level 15. Body length has grown to 26 meters. Male Leviathan, watching my mate die right in front of me. I completely lost my mind. It let out a deafening roar. The seawater throughout the ancient city surged along with it. It charged at me in a frenzy. Everywhere it passed, the golden buildings shattered one after another. Nothing could stop its advance. I didn't face him head-on. I turned toward the sea god statue in the center of the ancient city and swam at full speed. That statue was over 100 meters tall. It depicted the sea god Poseidon holding a trident. The entire statue was made from a single block of obsidian. Incredibly sturdy, the male Leviathan was frantically chasing me, its crimson eyes filled only with murderous intent. It didn't notice the statue ahead at all. Just as it was about to slam into me, I suddenly twisted aside and triggered short-range acceleration, dodging its charge in an instant. The male Leviathan, already in a frenzy, couldn't stop itself at all. Its entire body crashed hard into the sea god statue. A deafening boom shook the air. The 100-meter-tall obsidian statue collapsed with a roar. Countless massive stones rained down, instantly burying the male Leviathan beneath them. It let out a few unwilling roars, struggled a few times, and finally went completely still. Host successfully killed the male death leviathan, gained 150 evolution points. Congratulations, host. Skill extraction triggered, species acquired. Skill, ultimate high defense, can reduce 50% of physical and energy damage received. Host level has increased to level 18. Body length has grown to 30 meters. Weight, 180 tons. Fully unlocked the ultimate genome fragment of the prehistoric Megalodon. I looked at the system panel and let out a long sigh of relief. Sharp pain came from the wounds all over my body, but my heart felt unbelievably satisfied. Death Leviathan, who killed countless comrades in my past life, in this life, was slain by me in the ancient city of Atlantis. Species, prehistoric Megalodon. Level, 18. Length, 30 meters. Weight, 180 tons. Skill, Devour level 2. Ultimate short-range acceleration. Camouflage master level 3. Ultimate deep sea advance. Ultimate radiation immunity. Ultimate sonic deter. Ultimate high defense. 29 days left until the full-scale invasion of mutant creatures. Looking at the last line of blood-red text on the panel, my gaze instantly became resolute. 29 days to go. The beast tide is about to erupt across the board. Time waits for no one. I must head back immediately to accomplish my first goal after being reborn, turn myself into the nation. I took Xiaohong and Hebei and left the ancient city of Atlantis, racing at full speed toward the East China Sea of Waxia, pressing onward through the deep sea, triggering events throughout the journey. It only took us 3 days to cross half the globe and arrive at the East China Sea of Waxia. At this point, Waxia had already been thrown into chaos by my previous actions, causing a nationwide sensation. General Zhao Yingquan transmitted the warnings I gave, along with all the nuclear mutation data, and reported everything to the nation. The government took it extremely seriously and immediately initiated the highest-level emergency response. Coastal defenses were fully upgraded. A nationwide disaster prevention plan was fully launched. The whole country was preparing for the catastrophe 2 months away. General Zhao Yingquan personally oversaw the East China Sea Research Base, leading the country's top team, monitoring every movement in the East China Sea 24/7. They were looking for me nonstop. They knew I was the only one who could foresee the disaster in advance and had the power to fight mutant beasts. With Zhao Hong and Hebei, I appeared before the East China Sea research vessel. A gigantic shadow cast over the sea. Everyone on the research vessel tensed up instantly. General Zhao Yingquan walked to the bow, looking at me as I slowly approached. His eyes were full of shock. All the scientists on board and every soldier saluted me in unison. That very day, the nation issued the highest command to activate Project Poseidon and mobilize all national resources for me. All 1.4 billion people nationwide fed me collectively. Overnight, the nation's fishery resources, the deep-sea aquaculture and high-protein feed factories, all went into full production. Countless fishing and research vessels loaded with top-grade feed headed for the East China Sea to feed me at designated points. People from all across the country checked online every day for updates about me, cheering and supporting me. Jinghao, the whole nation feeds the Poseidon Megalodon. Jinghao's name dominated the trending search list for a week straight. Shark God, eat more. You have to grow big and strong. Defeat those mutant beasts in 2 months. We run a fishery business in our family. We'll send all our fish to kill God. Eat as much as you want. In your past life, you died fighting for us. This life, all 1.4 billion Chinese will feed you. Every day, tens of thousands of tons of premium feed are poured right into my mouth. My evolution rate is skyrocketing like a rocket. Ding. Host successfully devoured top-grade high-protein feed. Gained 10 evolution points. Ding! Host level increased to 19. Body length increased to 32 meters. Ding! Host successfully devoured a deep-sea krill swarm. Gained 20 evolution points. Devour skill leveled up to stage 3 Devour. Evolution points gained now tripled. Ding! Host level increased to 20. Body length increased to 35 meters. Unlocked ultimate skill, Poseidon's Roar. Poseidon's roar unleashes the ultimate sound wave of the prehistoric Megalodon, able to intimidate all marine life weaker than yourself, deals massive psychic damage to mutant beasts, causes no harm to non-mutant species. This skill is simply tailor-made for the coming beast tide. It's a perfect fit. What troubled us most in my past life was the overwhelming number of low-level mutant beasts. But now Poseidon's roar can clear the field instantly. More importantly, I discovered my Devour system not only evolves me, it can also convert extra evolution points into anti-radiation gene serums. These serums can boost humans' resistance to radiation by hundreds of times. No longer will people get genetic diseases from radiation, stopping human mutation at the source. I handed all synthesized gene serums to General Zhao Yingquan. The country immediately launched a nationwide vaccination campaign. In just half a month, all 1.4 billion people were vaccinated. The tragedy of 99% extinction from my past life was completely averted at its root. But just as we were preparing with everything we had, an accident happened after all. Dr. Lawson and the Abyss Hunter group didn't give up. Once they learned I'd turned myself in and gained Waxia's full support, they went completely insane. They rallied every illegal armed group worldwide, dozens of advanced warships, plus the ultimate mutant they'd spent decades secretly raising, a chimeric sky dragon over 80 meters long, came marching towards the East China Sea of Waxia, advancing in full force. They wanted to destroy me, destroy the gene serums, destroy humanity's final hope, and turn the entire world into their testing ground. The entire East Sea defense blared a red alert. General Zhao Yingquan stood in the command center, watching the satellite feed, his gaze totally determined.
He picked up the communicator
And ordered all frontier troops, all units to level 1 combat readiness. Swear to hold the East Sea line. No enemy may advance even one step. With Zhao Honghebei by my side, and a pod of over 100 orcas now strong, I slowly swam to the very front of the East Sea defense. My 35-meter-long body lay across the sea like a mountain range. Behind me were 1.4 billion countrymen, the ones I vowed to protect with my life. Last time I died here. This time, right here. I'll make sure none of the enemies get out alive. Dr. Lawson's fleet arrived off the East China Sea. He stood on the flagship's command bridge, staring at me on screen, and burst out in maniacal laughter. Megalodon, I'll give you one last chance to surrender. Come with me, or I'll turn the entire East Sea into a sea of blood. I ignored him, and just slowly opened my giant jaws, letting out a deafening Poseidon's roar. Invisible sound waves swept outward. Every experimental mutant beast in the enemy fleet instantly screamed in pain and died suddenly. The seawater was stained red with blood in an instant. Dr. Lawson's face turned ghostly pale. He never expected me to have such terrifying power. He screamed hysterically, "Open fire! Fire everything! Kill him, and release the ultimate sky dragon! I want him torn to pieces!" Endless shells and torpedoes came at me in a frenzy. The East Sea defense line behind me instantly activated every air defense and missile system. Interceptor missiles shot up like rain, stopping all the shells and torpedoes in midair. Under the surface, a deafening roar erupted. The 80-meter-long ultimate cyborg sky dragon rushed out from the deep sea, its body covered in thick alloy armor, teeth in its mouth sharp as missiles. Pair of crimson eyes locked dead on me.
He charged at me like a maniac.
He is Dr. Rosen's ultimate weapon. He was the one in my previous life. He bit through my body with one snap. I faced the charging transformed Azure Dragon. Short-range acceleration activated instantly. I rammed into him with full force. With a mighty crash, the two giant beasts collided violently. The entire sea surged with massive waves. The strength of the Azure Dragon was far beyond my imagination. He viciously bit down on my shoulder. Sharp teeth pierced through my skin. Blood instantly gushed into the sea. But I wasn't afraid at all. High-level defense triggered instantly. His teeth couldn't even reach my bones. I spun around suddenly and bit hard into his neck. My Devour skill activated at full power. I crazily absorbed his strength. The Azure Dragon let out a painful roar. His huge tail whipped me hard and sent me flying. It went completely berserk and charged at me again. Everywhere it passed, the seawater boiled from its power. I watched the charging azure dragon with not a trace of fear in my eyes. In my past life, I couldn't beat him. But in this life, I have 1.4 billion compatriots backing me. I have experience from countless reincarnations. I have things I absolutely must protect. I moved with a thought. Master of Disguise activated instantly. I transformed into an identical mechanical azure dragon and rushed straight at him. He froze in place instantly. He couldn't tell which one was the real him. In that moment, while he hesitated, I rapidly reverted to my Megalodon form. Short-range acceleration and Poseidon's roar activated simultaneously. The sonic wave hit his mind hard, causing him to freeze right where he was. I opened my huge jaws and clamped onto his head with all my strength. I bit down with everything I had. With a crunch, I cracked open his hard skull with my teeth. Foul-smelling brains and blood burst into the seawater. This beast that once made my past life, the whole East Sea defensive line, fall into despair. The ultimate mechanical azure dragon couldn't even struggle at the end before me. Its massive body crashed to the ocean floor, never to move again. 500 hosts successfully devoured the ultimate mutated azure dragon, earned 1,000 evolution points. D-Host has unlocked the ultimate form. System functions fully upgraded. Ocean Coalition module unlocked. Now able to command all non-mutated marine creatures to fight together. Gene evolution feature unlocked. Now able to cleanse nuclear radiation mutation factors from organisms. The system alert sounds exploded one after another in my mind. The exhilarating surge of power crashed over me like a tsunami. I shook off the blood and grime from my head. My 50-meter-long body gently swayed in the seawater. The entire surface of the sea rose with massive waves several meters high. In my previous life, I was torn apart by this very dragon on the East Sea defensive line. Not even a whole corpse remained. This time, in front of 1.4 billion compatriots, I ripped it to pieces with my own jaws. Dr. Lawson, in the command room of the flagship, watched the screen, viewing the moment when I bit the dragon's head clean off.
He looked as if his soul had left his body.
Slumping limply into his chair, his eyes wide open in shock.
He kept muttering, "Impossible."
This simply can't be possible. He just couldn't understand how, after decades of his own work, feeding countless nuclear experiment specimens, and fusing the genes of dozens of apex predators to create the ultimate azure dragon, it couldn't last even 10 rounds against me, and ended up completely destroyed without a trace. But he had no time to collapse. Haihei led a battle formation of over 100 orcas and rammed fiercely into the hull of the flagship. Each orca fought like an elite warrior, targeting the ship's engine room and propellers with precision. Xiaohong also shed his usual timidity. After awakening the Reaper Leviathan's bloodline, now reaching a length of 20 meters, his thick tentacles ruthlessly slapping the steel hull. The heavy armor tore like paper. Seawater poured frantically into the ship. Abandon ship now!" Dr. Lawson screamed hysterically. Under the bodyguard's cover, he staggered towards the lifeboat. Deep down, he knew it clearly. The fleet was gone. The azure dragon was gone. He had no cards left to play. Now, his only option was to run. The farther he fled, the better. But he forgot. This ocean is my domain. Just as his lifeboat pulled away from the flagship, not even 100 meters out, my enormous form appeared beneath the lifeboat with a gentle flick of my tail fin. The lifeboat was launched into the air by the surging wave, then came crashing back down onto the sea. Dr. Lawson and several bodyguards, drenched like wet chickens, were thrown out of the lifeboat and plunged into the icy water. When he looked up at me, my massive body blocked out the sunlight. A pair of cold, vertical pupils stared directly at him. This man, who had spent his entire life conducting cruel experiments on marine life, finally understood what absolute terror meant. He started thrashing, wild and desperate, trying to swim away. He kept yelling, "Don't kill me. I know I was wrong. I'll give you all my research data. I can help you fight the mutant beast tide." Watching his pitiful display, I felt nothing inside. It was his research in my past life that turned countless marine creatures into bloodthirsty mutants, causing 99% of humanity to die miserably in the apocalypse. He leaked the East Sea defense layout, allowing the mutant beast tide to tear through our defenses precisely. Countless comrades died with no peace. How could a simple apology ever repay this blood debt? I opened my massive jaws and unleashed a max-level sonic blast at him. The invisible shockwave hit his mind like a sledgehammer. He instantly let out a blood-curdling scream, blood pouring from every orifice. He froze up completely in the water, unable to move a muscle. Then, with a casual flick of my neck and tail, a surge of water swept him toward the research ship. General Zhao Yingquan was already there waiting with the soldiers. Several special ops members dove into the sea, fished the unconscious Dr. Lawson out, and cuffed him. This madman who had stirred up chaos worldwide and single-handedly pushed the world into apocalypse has finally been caught. Now he will face justice on behalf of all mankind. Retribution he rightfully deserves. Host successfully captured the mastermind Dr. Lawson. The global Abyss Hunter illegal forces have been completely destroyed. Received 500 evolution points. Congratulations to the host for completing the Ocean Cleaner Ultimate Achievement. Gained maximum reputation with all non-mutant ocean life. Oceanic Allied Forces module fully maxed out. The entire East Sea erupted in deafening cheers. On the research vessel, General Zhao Yingquan led all soldiers and scientists and saluted me with the most standard military gesture. See God, we did it. First battle saying God is awesome. Everyone will feed you as much as you want. Whatever you want to eat, we'll make it happen. Live viewership has surpassed 1 billion. People all over the world are watching this epic battle. The live chat is scrolling like a tidal wave. Damn, is this the true power of a prehistoric megashark? One bite took down an 80-meter dragon. So epic, Sand God didn't just save us. He even caught the mastermind behind it all. I never believed in the sea god before, but now I do. This is the true ocean god. I looked at the crowds cheering along the shore, at all the lively hope-filled faces, and felt a wave of warmth in my heart. In my past life, this place was a battlefield covered in corpses, a literal hell of despair. But now in this life, it's full of laughter and joy, full of ordinary human happiness. This is the meaning of my rebirth.
But
Just as everyone was lost in victory's joy, the system's red alert exploded wildly in my mind without warning. The piercing alarm sound made every scale on my body tense up. Alert, highest level warning. Detected, global ocean nuclear radiation levels spiking abnormally, now over 1,000 times the critical threshold. Alert, highest level warning. Detected massive scale mutations in global deep sea regions. More than 1 million mutant beasts have hatched, most at level 10 or higher. Alert, highest level beast tide outbreak in advance. The timeline has moved up. 24 hours remain. Detected, source of unknown top-level psychic fluctuations from the deepest point of the Mariana Trench. Threat level far exceeds current knowledge. Contempt, my heart suddenly sank. Something is off. Even after so much waste release, there's no way radiation could spike this fast in just a few hours, let alone hatch 1 million mutant beasts at once. Dr. Lawson has already been caught. The Abyss Hunters have been wiped out. So who is manipulating things from the shadows? I immediately used Morse code to transmit the system's warnings. Everything, straight to General Zhao Yingquan. His smile disappeared instantly, his expression turning grim. He picked up the communicator at once and issued the highest level red combat alert to the entire national defense line. Attention all units. Mutant tides will arrive worldwide in 24 hours. Coastal defenses, enter maximum readiness now. Repeat, enter maximum readiness now. The whole country moved into action immediately. All coastal defense gates were sealed. The aerial missile defense system went online everywhere. Inland shelters are now fully open. Everyone is now in battle readiness. In my past life, we were overwhelmed and clumsy. We faced the beast tide completely unprepared. But in this life, we're ready. We're fully prepared and on high alert. But I know deep down, this time things are far from simple. That unknown presence from the Mariana Trench, that psychic fluctuation, gave me a feeling 100 times more terrifying than the 2 death leviathans combined. It's much more horrifying. It even made me, with my sea god form already fully unlocked, feel a bone-chilling cold. There must be a huge conspiracy behind this, a twist none of us have realized. That night, I handed over the command of the East Sea Defense Line to Black Shell and Little Red. I had them lead the Orca Pod and the Ocean Coalition forces to guard the mouth of the East Sea. If any beast appears, eliminate it on sight. Meanwhile, I activated my max-level deep-sea traverse skill and swam at full speed toward the Mariana Trench. I had to see for myself what kind of nightmare is hiding behind all this. After the beast tide broke out completely in my past life, the Mariana Trench became the nest of all apex beasts. We tried to wipe them out countless times, but always paid a steep price, and we never even found out what was really inside. This time, I'll uncover the truth ahead of time, crushing this world-ending threat in its cradle. With max-level deep-sea traverse, my speed reached the absolute limit. I even left a white streak on the ocean's surface, crossing the Pacific Ocean. It took me less than half a day to arrive above the Mariana Trench. This place is called the deepest spot on Earth. The deepest parts are over 11,000 meters. The water pressure could crush a tank like a tin can. Sunlight never reaches here. It's a realm of eternal darkness and deathly silence. But now this trench, which should be utterly quiet, reeks with nauseating radiation. Countless beastly roars are echoing from the very depths of the trench, making the ocean tremble ever so slightly. I started descending slowly, activating my maxed-out Master of Camouflage skill. I transformed my body to mimic a piece of seafloor rock, completely concealed my presence, and crept deeper into the trench little by little. The deeper I dived, the more shocked I became. The trench walls were completely covered in monstrous beast eggs, each one as big as a bucket, with fully developed mutant beasts curled up inside, swaying gently with the currents. They could hatch at any moment. The number of these eggs, far beyond the million level detected by the system. It might even exceed 10 million. And around these mutant beast eggs, thick metal pipes were everywhere. At the ends of the pipes were connected to secret laboratories hidden in the rock walls. A constant stream was being pumped through the pipes into the trench, discharging thick, black, polluted river water, and another kind of liquid emitting a strange purple glow. It was exactly these liquids that increased the power of the nuclear radiation by 1,000-fold, accelerating the hatching of these mutant beast eggs. A wave of shock surged in my heart. So, Sakura Nation's nuclear wastewater discharge was never just about handling nuclear waste. It was a cover. The real nuclear wastewater was all secretly dumped into the Mariana Trench to incubate these mutated monsters. And Dr. Rosen isn't the real mastermind at all. He's just a pawn pushed to the front. There's someone else behind the scenes. Just then, a familiar conversation came from the nearest laboratory. I crept toward the rock wall and looked through the observation window of the lab and saw the people inside clearly. Leading them was someone who should have been on the East Sea front line. Dr. Rosen, who we had already captured. Wait, that Dr. Rosen was slightly different from the one I caught. The madness in his eyes was gone. Only an icy, inhuman indifference remained, and his body was undergoing a bizarre and twisted mutation. Bulging veins under his skin, twisting like tentacles beneath the surface. Standing beside him were all the top members of the Abyss Hunters group. Those we thought had sunk with the fleet and had been captured were all here. Every one of them like the Walking Dead, their eyes completely vacant, and their bodies transforming in various ways. The real one was captured. No matter, our plan has already succeeded. That Dr. Rosen spoke, his voice hoarse and eerie, nothing like what a human could make. The energy of the sea god core has already been polluted by our radiation. Atlantis' suppressing power is gone. In just 24 more hours, billions of beast eggs will hatch at once. The entire blue star will be in our grasp. My lord, will that Megalodon interfere? One upper member cautiously asked. Megalodon? Dr. Rosen let out a strange laugh. It's just a worm lucky enough to get another chance at life. In its last life, it never even saw us, and died in the jaws of Kanglong. Even if it unlocks its ultimate form this time, before the mighty sea god, it's just a snack to be devoured in one bite. Sea god, my heart skipped a beat. Who is this sea god he's talking about? Just then, the lab's big screen suddenly lit up. On the screen appeared a gigantic dark silhouette floating at the bottom of the trench. Over 300 meters from head to tail, body covered in dark golden scales. Countless tentacles stretched out like mountain ranges. Two massive golden vine eyes were locked directly on the camera. What made my scalp tingle most was that the outline of the shadow looked exactly like the one in the ancient city of Atlantis. A perfect match for the statue of Poseidon. Congratulations to the sea god for soon breaking the seal and returning to the world. Everyone in the laboratory, including Dr. Rosen, all knelt before the shadow on the screen, their faces filled with fanatical worship. I felt my blood turn cold. Unbelievable twist. All along, we thought the beast tide was just an accident caused by wastewater discharge. But unexpectedly, from beginning to end, it was a conspiracy plotted for tens of millions of years. The legends of Atlantis are actually real. Tens of millions of years ago, there really was a sea god ruling the ocean. But he wasn't some guardian, but a tyrant who wanted to dominate all of Blue Star. Ancient humans paid a tremendous price to use the power of the sea god core and seal him in the deepest part of the Mariana Trench. At the same time, they built the city of Atlantis to further reinforce the seal. And nuclear radiation is the only thing able to contaminate the sea god core, dissolving the seal. For tens of millions of years, he's been waiting for his chance. Until humans started dumping nuclear wastewater, that's when he finally seized his chance. He used mental power to control Dr. Rosen and the Abyss Hunters group, so they'd recklessly discharge nuclear wastewater to speed up the breakdown of the seal and hatch mutated monsters at the same time, to pave the way for his return and create an army of mutated beasts. In our lost life, we never even knew until the end that behind the beast tide lay such an extinction-level terror. All our desperate struggles were just us fighting his little foot soldiers. This is also why 99% of humanity perished in just 1 month in our previous life. Because what we faced was never just an accidental catastrophe, but the result of a carefully orchestrated extinction. Just as I was in utter shock, the giant dark figure on the screen suddenly moved. Those massive golden slit pupils immediately turned in my direction. A cold voice pierced right through the laboratory walls and into my mind. A reborn little shark dared to come to my doorstep. Since you're here, you're not leaving. Boom, a terrifying mental force slammed into me like a tsunami. My master of disguise effect was instantly shredded. My whole body was smashed hard against the rock wall by the force. The rock face immediately cracked. A mouthful of blood spewed from my lips. Everyone in the lab instantly reacted. That Dr. Rosen snapped his head up and caught sight of me outside the rock wall, let out a piercing scream. He's the Megalodon. Catch him! Kill him! Instantly, alarms blared throughout the trench. Mutant beasts hidden in the rock crevices swarmed at me like a tidal wave. Leading them were 5 death leviathans, each over 50 meters long, with more than a dozen twisted kanglong over 40 meters long, each and every one above level 25. System warning, host. You're surrounded by a million-level beast horde. Enemy top combat power above level 30. Evacuate immediately. System warning, host under attack by unknown top-level psychic force. Sea god body taking damage. Self-healing decreased by 50%. I knew perfectly well. To fight head-on now would be suicide. Even sealed that sea god's power is still far beyond my imagination. Plus this million-level mutant horde. I have no chance of victory at all. There's no hope for a win. Live to fight another day. There's always hope if I survive. I have to get out of here now. Return to the East Sea and find a way to respond to this extinction crisis. I instantly activated max-level short-range acceleration. A 50-meter-long body shot out like a cannonball, heading straight for an oncoming Reaper Leviathan. I opened my massive jaws, and it bit down hard. With a loud crunch, I bit its head clean off. Hot blood splattered all over me. Ding, host has successfully devoured the Reaper Leviathan. Gained 100 evolution points. Using this momentum, I shot rapidly toward the ocean surface. Poseidon's roar. I unleashed it with full force. A deafening sonic wave swept out. The low-level mutant beasts surrounding me had their brains blown out instantly, and all sank rapidly to the bottom. But there were just too many beasts. They surged in endlessly like the tide, clinging tightly to me, not letting me leave. An abnormally mutated azure dragon bit down hard on my tail fin. Its sharp teeth pierced my skin. Intense pain shot through my whole body. I spun around fiercely and bit down. My devour skill activated at full power and instantly sucked it into an empty shell. Ding, host has successfully devoured the mutated azure dragon. Gained 80 evolution points. Ding, devour skill triggered a critical hit. Evolution points doubled. Self-healing ability restored. Poseidon's body passive triggered instantly. The wounds on my body healed rapidly before my eyes. I stared at the encroaching mutant beasts. A ruthless glint flashed in my eyes, trying to stop me. Let's see if your teeth are tough enough. I rampaged my way forward, charging furiously toward the surface. Any beast blocking my way, whether Leviathan or Azure Dragon, I tore them to shreds, one after another. All my max-level skills exploded with power. The entire Mariana Trench became my hunting ground. Ding, host has successfully devoured the gigantic king squid. Gained 20 evolution points. Ding, host has successfully devoured the ritual orcapod. Gained 100 evolution points. D-host level increased to level 31. Body length grew to 52 meters. D-host level increased to level 32. Body length grew to 55 meters. Fighting all the way forward, I brutally carved a bloody path through a horde of 1,000,000 mutant beasts. When I finally broke through the surface and saw sunlight at last, I was covered head to toe in mutant blood, looking like a war god straight out of hell. I didn't pause for a moment, plunging deeper into the ocean, sprinting at full speed, bolting madly towards the East China Sea. I have to get back as soon as possible. I need to tell General Zhao Yingqin about this earth-shattering conspiracy. I must find a way to deal with it. Otherwise, the tragedy from my previous life will not only repeat itself, it will become even more devastating. A day later, I finally returned to the East Sea waters. The moment I appeared at the East Sea defense line, everyone was shocked. My 55-meter-long body was covered in battle scars. Although they had healed, you could still see how brutal the fight was. Haibai and Xiaohong saw me come back, and immediately brought the pod of orcas to surround me. They gently nuzzled my body with their snouts, and let out low cries of concern. I immediately found General Zhao Yingqin, and used Morse code to tell him everything I discovered in the Mariana Trench, that ancient sea god who had been sealed away, and this doomsday plot that had been planned for tens of millions of years. I told him all of it, word by word. After hearing it, General Zhao Yingqin's face turned pale. His face was ghostly white, and the teacup in his hand slammed heavily onto the table. His whole body was trembling slightly. He'd spent his entire life studying the ocean, but he'd never imagined there was such a terrifying truth behind it all. Everything we'd prepared before, compared to that 300-meter-long ancient sea god, was completely useless. General, what should we do now? Xia Yu, who was next to him, spoke with a tremble in his voice. He was holding the footage sent back by the deep-sea detector. Massive mutant beast swarms have already appeared in all the seas around the world. The coastal defense lines have already begun fighting back. General Zhao Yingqin took a deep breath, and his eyes regained their determination. He looked at me and saluted me again. Sea God, China has never bowed to any disaster. In our previous life we lost, but this time we have you. Even if our opponent is a god, we're willing to fight. His words were like flames, igniting everyone's fighting spirit. That's right. Even if we face an ancient sea god, so what? In my previous life I fought alone, daring to fight the beast tide until the end. This time I have comrades fighting alongside me, and the support of 1.4 billion compatriots. What's there to fear? Just then, the system's notification suddenly echoed in my mind. Ding! Detected that the host has encountered a doomsday-level crisis. Ultimate hidden mission legacy of the sea god triggered. Mission target: go to the ancient city of Atlantis. Obtain the true sea god core. Inherit the legacy of the ancient ocean guardian. Defeat the corrupted fallen sea god. Purify the ocean. And protect Blue Star. Mission reward: unlock the ultimate form of the god of the sea. All skills upgraded to god level. Gain permanent control over the ocean. Mission failure penalty: Blue Star will be completely lost. All life will go extinct. My heart trembled violently. So there was another half to the legend. The truth is, tens of millions of years ago, there was not only a fallen sea god, but also a true guardian of the ocean. In other words, the real master of Atlantis. He perished together with the fallen sea god, and sealed his own power within the sea god core, waiting for the true heir to appear, to stop the resurrection of the fallen sea god. And I am the chosen successor. Without any hesitation, I accepted the mission. This is my only chance. And also the only chance for all of Blue Star. That same day, I told General Zhao Yingquan the plan. He immediately said he would mobilize the entire nation to buy me time. All countries around the world, after learning the apocalyptic truth, also promised to fully cooperate, using every military resource to withstand the beast tide, and giving me precious time to reach Atlantis. Su Wan, leading the medical team, had already made thorough preparations, ready to deal with any casualties at any moment. Xia Yu, leading the deep-sea exploration team, mapped out the optimal route to Atlantis for me, providing satellite, navigation and deep-sea detection support throughout. Zhao Hu, leading the fishermen's fleet, prepared for my ocean coalition by supplying plenty of food and provisions. Those who sacrificed themselves in my previous life to protect humanity now stand by my side in this one, fighting alongside me. I am no longer fighting alone. The next morning, the global defense lines went to full-scale war. Tens of millions of mutant beasts swarmed out from all the oceans worldwide, launching a frenzied assault on the coastal defenses. The sound of artillery roars and battle cries echoed throughout Blue Star. Human armies held the defense line to the death, not giving an inch. Haibai led the Okapod. Xiaheng led the Deep-Sea Legion awakened with Leviathan blood, rushing back and forth between sea areas to reinforce, fighting the beast tide to the bitter end. As for me, at the same time as the battle erupted, I activated deep-sea stealth and rushed toward the direction of Atlantis again. At top speed, I must get the sea god core as soon as possible and inherit the legacy. Every second wasted means more people will die to the beasts. This time I held nothing back. I activated my max-level short-range acceleration the whole way, moving at extreme speed. I even created a vacuum trail in the depths of the sea, a journey that usually took 3 days. I finished in less than 10 hours, and once again arrived at Atlantis. But the scene before my eyes made me grit my teeth in fury. The once splendid and golden city of Atlantis was now polluted by black radiation. The golden buildings had become worn and damaged. The ancient city was crawling with mechanical monstrosities. The entire city was shrouded by the spiritual power of the fallen sea god, emitting a suffocating aura of despair. The sea god core was right in the center of the city, inside the sea god's palace. But to get to it, I had to cross the entire city, breaking through layer upon layer of mutant beasts. Without the slightest hesitation, I opened my massive jaws and let out an earth-shattering sea god's roar. The surrounding mutant beasts were instantly shattered by the blast. I charged forward, rampaging straight toward the palace at the city's center. Whatever level the beasts in front of me were, I tore them all apart with my jaws, activating my Devour skill at full power. Each beast I swallowed, the stronger I became, and the higher my level grew. Host has successfully devoured Mecha Leviathan, gained 120 evolution points. Host level increased to 35. Body length increased to 60 meters. High-level defense skill unlocked. God tier. 90% damage reduction from all attacks. Ding! Host has successfully devoured the Misha Kanglong horde. Gained 500 evolution points. Ding! Host level increased to 38. Body length increased to 70 meters. Fighting my way through, I forced a bloody path through the horde of beasts. Finally, I reached the gates of the sea god's palace. The ancient doors that stood for tens of millions of years were tightly shut, engraved with countless ancient patterns, giving off a faint golden glow, resisting the radiation's pollution. I gently touched the palace gate with my snout cloth. Instantly, all the patterns on the gate lit up. A gentle golden light enveloped my entire body. In my mind, an ancient and gentle voice sounded. Finally, I've been waiting for you. Successors have come and gone for millions of years. At last, someone is willing to step forward to protect this ocean. to bravely stand out. Before the words faded away, the palace gate slowly opened. I swayed my tail fin and swam into the palace. At the very center of the palace, a golden crystal the size of a fist was floating. It radiated a warm and overwhelming power, just like the sun beneath the sea. This is the real sea god's core. Just as I reached out my snout and was about to touch the sea god's core, a terrifying black energy suddenly crashed down from the top of the palace. It slammed hard into my body. I felt like I was struck by a mountain. I was smashed brutally onto the palace floor. Blood spurted from my mouth. A gigantic black shadow slowly emerged from the darkness of the palace. It was the fallen sea god. He actually broke through the seal and arrived early in Atlantis. Even a tiny ant is grateful for the sea god's power. He let out an earth-shattering roar. His 300-meter-long body filled the entire palace. Countless tentacles lashed mercilessly toward me. In your past life, you couldn't stop me. In this life, it'll be the same. The tentacles whipped fiercely at my body. Even my maxed-out defense was instantly torn apart. Wounds deep to the bone appeared on my body. Agonizing pain swept through my entire being.
His power was simply too strong.
Even though he hadn't fully recovered his strength, I still couldn't stand a chance against him now. He swiftly wrapped me up. Countless tentacles tightly coiled around my body, slowly tightening. My bones started to crack under the pressure. A suffocating feeling rushed in instantly. You think coming back to life means you can change everything? How naive. His voice was full of scorn. Everything you've done was nothing but dancing in the palm of my plan. You killed my wife and gained power. In the end, all you brought me was the perfect sacrifice. Once I devour you, this ultimate body of the prehistoric Megalodon, plus absorbing the sea god's core, the entire blue planet will be under my feet. Humans will be nothing but food I raise. His words stabbed into my heart like icy daggers. Does this mean all my efforts in this life are for nothing? Will I still be unable to change the ending? Are those I want to protect still doomed to die miserably in the apocalypse? At that moment, in my mind, that ancient, gentle voice echoed again. The meaning of a successor's protection has never been about fighting alone. Look behind you and see all that you protect. You're not fighting alone. I suddenly looked up. Through the palace dome, I saw what was happening outside. East Sea Defense Line. General Zhao Yingquan led the soldiers. Even though they were covered in wounds, they still held the line fiercely. On the Pacific Ocean, Haibai led the orca pod, charging again and again at the mutant beast horde. In the Arctic Ocean, Akong led his tribe piloting fishing boats, rescuing countless drowning civilians. Even when faced with mutant beasts, they didn't back down in the slightest. All around the world, countless humans, countless marine creatures, were all fighting for their homes with everything they had. And the 1.4 billion people across the nation were cheering for me in front of their screens, praying for me. Go, sea god. We believe you can win. I looked at the fallen sea god before me. There was no longer any fear in my eyes, only unwavering determination. I unleashed all the power of the sea god's body, forcibly broke free of his tentacles, opened my massive jaws, facing him, and let out a sea god's roar with everything I had. In this very roar was my obsession with rebirth, my determination to protect, and the longing for life from every living being. Invisible sound waves swept out like golden tides. The fallen sea god let out a howl of pain. The tentacles binding me shattered instantly. He staggered backward. Right at that moment, the sea god core floating at the palace center suddenly burst with dazzling golden light. It sensed the will in my heart, sensed my determination to protect, and instantly became a beam of golden light shooting into my body. Boom! An indescribable surge of power swept through me like a tsunami. My body rapidly expanded in the golden light, soaring from 70 meters to 100 meters tall. Golden scales covered every inch of me. Ancient patterns lit up across my body. The power of ancient ocean guardians, perfectly fused with my prehistoric Megalodon bloodline, united as one. Congratulations, host, for successfully inheriting the sea god core, unlocking the ocean god's ultimate form. Ding, all skills have been upgraded to god level. Unlocking ultimate God skill. Ocean evolution. Able to evolve all nuclear radiation genes in global seas. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have gained control over the world's oceans. Able to command all powers of the sea. I gazed at my new form, feeling the surging power within me. A power strong enough to rule the entire ocean. Slowly lifted my head and looked at the fallen sea god across from me. You're wrong? My voice spread through the water and echoed throughout the ancient city of Atlantis. The ocean has never been your tool of rule. It's the cradle of life, a home we must protect with all our hearts. You want to devour me and conquer Blue Star? Then let's see if you truly have that power. With a powerful sweep of my tail fin, all the watering Atlantis surged with my movement. Countless golden blades of water slashed fiercely at the fallen sea god. He let out an insane roar. Countless black tentacles shot forward, clashing with the water blades. An earth-shattering battle erupted in the ancient city of Atlantis. I wielded the power of the whole ocean, turning the seawater into my weapon. Wherever the golden light reached, all radioactive pollution was instantly purified. All mutant monsters were instantly wiped out. Though the fallen sea god was mighty, his power came from pollution and destruction. But mine came from protection, from the ocean's blessing, from the hope of every living being. As one rises and one falls, he gradually fell behind. Impossible! I am the sea god. I am the master of the ocean. How could you possibly defeat me? He screamed hysterically, unleashing all his power. His body turned into a black torrent and rushed at me with everything he had. Intent on perishing together, I stared at his charging figure, slowly opened my massive jaws, and unleashed my final god skill, ocean purification. Dazzling golden light erupted from my mouth, illuminating the deep sea like the sun. Wherever the golden light shined, the black pollution was instantly cleansed. The fallen sea god let out a desperate scream. His body slowly dissolved in the golden light and gradually disintegrated. No, I refuse. I waited millions of years. I refuse to accept this. These were his final words left in this world. Then his body was completely purified by the golden light, disappearing into the water, leaving no trace behind. This doomsday plot, planned for millions of years, this culprit of the apocalypse, was finally destroyed by me. Ding! Congratulations, host, for slaying the fallen sea god. Ultimate hidden quest completed. The legacy of the sea god. Ding! Ultimate god skill ocean evolution has been activated. World Ocean Evolution Program launched. Detected. World nuclear radiation level dropping rapidly. All mutant beast eggs have stopped hatching. Low-tier mutant monsters instantly purified. As the system notification sounded, I transformed into golden light and shot out of the city of Atlantis. Surfacing above the sea, I opened my massive jaws, facing all the oceans of Blue Star, and unleashed ocean purification once more. Boundless golden light surged like the tide, sweeping over every sea on the planet. Oceans polluted by waste for decades became crystal clear again under the golden light. Radiation in the seawater was instantly cleansed without a trace, with nothing left behind. Those mutated beasts caught in the golden light had their mutagenic factors completely purified, turning back into normal sea creatures. The unhatched mutants immediately stopped developing and became ordinary fish eggs. Returning to nature, the global mutant beast tide came to a complete stop. When the golden light faded, sunlight once again spilled across the sea. The once turbid, blood-stained ocean once again turned blue, clear to the bottom, and full of life. Everyone on the coastline was stunned. The mutant beasts that were attacking vanished in an instant. The deafening artillery fire stopped. The air, once thick with despair, was replaced by fresh sea breeze. When they saw my 100-meter-long golden body, floating calmly on the ocean, like the true sea god, gazing over the revived ocean, everyone finally realized, we won. We have completely won. A deafening cheer erupted in an instant, echoing to every corner of the world. Countless people on the coastline hugged each other and wept, waving nonstop in my direction, shouting over and over. In the livestream room, the comments completely flooded the screen. Countless people were moved to tears in front of their screens. We won. We did not repeat the mistakes of our past lives. We protected our homeland. We defended this blue ocean. General Zhao Yunquan stood at the bow of the research ship, tears streaming down his face as he looked at me, and gave me a solemn military salute. Everyone on the ship all saluted me together. Black Cup led the pod of killer whales. Xiaohong led the ocean coalition, slowly gathering around me, nuzzling my golden scales affectionately without kissing, and made joyful calls. They won this battle. They protected their home. I looked at my companions around me, at the cheering crowd on the coastline, and at this blue sea brimming with life again. My heart filled with warmth. In my previous life, I died fighting to protect China from a mutant beast, full of endless regrets and fears. This life, I was reborn as a juvenile megalodon. The first thing I did was offer myself to the nation, and started the feeding of 1.4 billion people, devouring along the way, evolving step by step, defying the odds at every turn, and finally reversing the apocalypse, protecting the entire blue planet. I made it. I protected everything I wanted to protect. The story ends perfectly and beautifully. Dr. Rosen's true body and his accomplices who were captured were judged by all humanity and sentenced to life imprisonment. In prison, they spent the rest of their lives atoning for their crimes. Countries around the world united to introduce the most stringent marine protection convention in history, completely banning any form of river waste discharge, establishing marine ecological reserves spanning all 4 oceans, investing trillions to restore the damaged marine ecosystem, using every possible resource to safeguard this blue ocean that gave birth to life. The sea areas once polluted by nuclear radiation have regained vitality through the power of marine evolution. Coral reefs that had disappeared for years grew anew with colorful corals. Migrating fish once again filled the empty ocean currents. Countless marine creatures returned to their home. The entire ocean became vibrant once more brilliant than ever before. And as the guardian of the ocean, the sea god of China, I did not stay in the distant ancient city of Atlantis, but returned to the East China Sea, the nation designated for me, a vast marine protected area in the East China Sea. There is no pollution here, no fishing. It has become a paradise for marine life. It's also become the world's most famous marine festival. Countless people from all over the world come here just to catch a glimpse of this sea god megashark, guardian of the blue planet. Even if they only see my wake from afar, they'll still cheer and jump with excitement. The nationwide feeding campaign by 1.4 billion people is still ongoing. It's even livelier than before. Every day, countless fishing boats bring the freshest, highest quality bait to the East Sea for me and my ocean friends. Netizens have even given this feeding event a cute name. They call it ranking Sasha up. Every day, online, people post the feeding ingredients prepared by fishermen from all over. They keep coming up with new ways to make nutritious meals for me. On social media, my special hashtag dominates the trending list every day. Netizens give me all kinds of cute nicknames. Sasha the Mighty Sea God Baby. Some even make custom emojis for me. They edit daily live videos and urge for updates about me online every day. They care more about me than their own meals. Today, Sasha devoured 20 tons of premium tuna. The feeding ship's captain said. Sasha finished off half the boat's catch in one bite. Even the kids were stunned. Help! In the East China Sea protected area, I filmed Sasha surfing with Little Red and a pod of orcas. He even splashes water for the kids with his tail fin. How can such a giant prehistoric beast be this cute? Breaking news. Sasha unlocked another new achievement. He led the marine rescue team to save a boat of stranded fishermen. Now the whole internet is calling out to the sea god Sasha. I swished my tail fin and caught whole boxes of fresh fish thrown from the bow and stern of ships, swallowing them in a single gulp. System notifications keep dinging in my mind nonstop, like a cash register tallying new entries. It fills me with excitement. D-Host has successfully devoured a top-grade bluefin tuna school. 200 evolution points earned. D-Host's level has risen to 40. Body length increased to 120 meters. The sea god's body evolves once again, immune to all physical and energy attacks. Ding! Host's reputation value has reached a new peak. Unlocked the ultimate passive ocean affinity. All non-mutated marine creatures will obey the host's commands unconditionally. I shook my head with satisfaction. My 120-meter-long body moved slightly in the water, sending up gentle waves several meters high. On the shore viewing deck, countless tourists erupted in deafening cheers. A few children held up drawing boards with my picture, leaning over the railing, waving and calling my name nonstop. I swished my tail fin again, sending a string of sparkling water droplets that transformed into a 7-colored rainbow in the sunlight, landing perfectly in front of the observation platform. The children cheered even louder. Even the adults couldn't help but whip out their phones, eagerly capturing the moment. Little Red next to me swung her thick tentacles, trying to mimic my splash. But she used too much force and ended up flinging half the water on the surface into the air, drenching everyone on the shore in coolness. The tourists didn't get mad at all, but instead laughed even harder. They kept waving at Little Red. Little Red shyly pulled her tentacles back, hiding behind me, peeking out with her big round eyes. Blackback, meanwhile, led the orca pod, forming a neat patrol at the protected area boundary, like a squad of diligent security guards on patrol. Since the global monster surge ended, they've become the marine police of the East China Sea. Every day they're either chasing away illegal fishing boats or rescuing trapped marine life. They're constantly busy and loving it. Even the East Sea Coast Guard gave them a Marine Guardian banner as a thank you, hanging it in the most prominent spot on the research vessel. Life here is carefree and relaxing. Every day is spent enjoying the country's best-fed foods, patrolling the East Sea with my friends, and occasionally visiting different seas around the world, purifying lingering traces of radiation, and helping ships and marine life in danger. Life couldn't be better. For a while, I really thought the apocalyptic tragedy of my previous life was truly over, that the days ahead would stay peaceful and beautiful. But I forgot that beneath this bottomless ocean, there are always secrets and threats unknown to man. That night, while I was swimming the deep sea with Little Red and Blackback, checking on the coral reef restoration, the system's red alert erupted in my mind without warning. The shrill notification sound made all my golden scales go tight at once. Maximum level alert. Detection. Abnormal energy surge detected in the South Pacific Ocean. Radiation values instantly surpassed threshold by 5,000 times. D maximum level alert. Ancient organism gene sequence awakening detected. Origin. Deepest point of the Tonga Trench in the South Pacific. D maximum level alert. Massive mutated biological swarm detected. Number exceeds 100,000. Rapidly moving toward the surrounding seas. A chill ran through my heart. Something's wrong. I clearly purified all nuclear radiation worldwide with ocean purification, not even sparing the deepest trenches. How could such high radiation levels suddenly appear? And the ancient gene sequence awakening. What exactly is hidden in the Tonga Trench?
Blackback
Also seemed to sense something off in the water's atmosphere, letting out a warning call. Instantly, the sharp-witted orca pod formed a battle formation. Surrounding Little Red and me in a protective circle, Little Red dropped all her usual timidness, her thick tentacles tensing up. Both eyes were locked onto the dark depths of the sea, fully ready for battle. I immediately used sonar waves to give Blackback and Little Red orders, telling them to lead the orca pod straight back to the East Sea defense line and report the abnormal situation to General Zhao Yingqin. Initiating combat readiness level 1. Meanwhile, I triggered my max level deep sea charge and shot toward the Tonga Trench in the South Pacific, racing at full speed. I had to see for myself what was really behind this sudden anomaly. I can't let Blue Planet's hard-won peace fall into another apocalypse. With deep sea charge activated, my speed reached the absolute limit. For a journey of over 10,000 kilometers, I arrived in less than 2 hours. But when I reached above the Tonga Trench, the sight before me made my blood boil. The typically clear South Pacific surface was now covered in pitch-black pollution. Countless marine animal corpses floated on the water. Their bodies had undergone terrifying mutations, emitting an unbearable stench. From the depths of the Tonga Trench, black polluted liquid was pouring out ceaselessly. Everywhere it touched, all sea creatures mutated instantly, becoming mindless, bloodthirsty monsters. Warning. Detected residual energy of the fallen sea god's soul. Confirmed active. Warning. Detected ancient mutated race. Life signals from the deep sea demon faction. This race was from ancient times. An evil clan once sealed by the ocean guardians. They survive by polluting the ocean and devouring life. D maximum level warning. Fallen sea god residual soul. Symbiosis with the deep sea demon tribe has been achieved. Ancient seal is being unlocked. Estimated time to complete unlocking, 72 hours. Warning alert. Demon tribe contamination found spreading in global seas. Distorted creatures are attacking coastal defenses. The system's notification sounds kept exploding one after another. My heart was thrown into turmoil. A huge plot twist. I thought I had completely wiped out the fallen sea god. I didn't expect he had one last trick up his sleeve. Even before I evolved, he split off a fragment of his soul and escaped to the Tonga Trench. Also, unlocked the deep-sea demon tribe that was sealed in ancient times. In my last life during the apocalypse, there was never any mention of the deep-sea demon tribe. I suddenly realized the beast tide from my previous life was just the prelude to the demon tribe invasion. The reason 99% of humanity died within a month in my previous life wasn't just a simple beast tide. It was a full-scale invasion by the demon tribe. And the fallen sea god was simply their pawn pushed to the front. In the moment, I was shocked. A cold and malicious psychic force suddenly surged out from the depths of the trench, wrapping around my body. Right after, a familiar but strange voice echoed in my mind. It was the voice of the fallen sea god whom I had destroyed. Long time no see. My good successor. Bet you didn't expect this. I'm still alive. His voice was laced with mad laughter. Did you think purifying the ocean and destroying my true body was the end? Way too naive. You have no idea what kind of existence you're facing. In ancient times, the ocean guardians poured out the strength of their entire race, just to seal us, the demon tribe, in the depths of the trench. It's been tens of millions of years, and we have finally waited for the day to see the light again. Wastewater and filth are our keys. The fallen sea god is our pawn. Even your rebirth was calculated by us. Do you know why you were reincarnated? Why you awakened? The Devour evolution system. That's the Ocean Guardian's last lingering while fighting back. He wanted to choose a successor to stop me. Sadly, the one he picked was still too weak. My pupils suddenly constricted. Yet another reversal. My rebirth. My system. Turns out none of it was accidental. It was the last lingering will of the ancient Ocean Guardians. That chose me. Let me be reborn, to stop the demon tribe's invasion. Everything I went through before was just the demon tribe, to completely destroy the Ocean Guardians. Setting up a massive scheme. Did you think you inherited the sea god core? That was just bait deliberately left for you by our demon tribe. On purpose. The fallen sea god's remnant soul let out a piercing, crazed laugh. When you used it to purify the ocean, you had already unknowingly broken the global seal nodes. Now all the global seals are loosening. The demon tribe's vast army will soon pour out of every trench. The entire blue star will fall into our hands. And with your body that has fused the sea god's core and the bloodline of the prehistoric Megalodon, you will become the perfect vessel to absorb power for our Moling clan lord. Before the words were finished, from the depths of the Tonga Trench, an unimaginably terrifying surge of energy suddenly erupted. Countless black figures rippled and emerged, rushing out from the depths of the trench. Their bodies were covered in jet-black scales. They had human upper bodies and fish lower bodies. Each held long spears forged from deep-sea cold iron. Pairs of blood-red eyes stared at me intently, radiating a bloodthirsty, savage light. At the front was a Moling clan warrior with a body length exceeding 100 meters. He was holding a massive ancient blade. The aura from his body was no weaker than the original fallen sea god form from before. He looked at me and let out a hoarse roar.
He instantly led the Moling clan army to charge straight at me.
Warning! Host is surrounded by 100,000 Moling clan warriors. Enemy's highest combat power, level 45, far exceeds host's current level. Immediate retreat advised. Ding! Warning! Detected simultaneous loosening of seals in all major ocean trenches globally. The Moling clan army is awakening on all fronts. Predicted total loss of all sea territories within 24 hours. I knew very clearly in my heart That fighting head-on now is a definite path to death. The Moling clan's strength far exceeds anything I imagined. Plus, the remnant soul of the fallen sea god is lurking, watching for its chance. Once I get entangled, I'd have no chance of escape. As long as the Green Hills lost, there will always be firewood to burn. I must return to the East Sea immediately and find a way to deal with this. I need to uncover the truth behind the Ocean Guardian's legacy. I absolutely cannot let Blue Star fall into the hands of the Moling clan. I suddenly opened my massive jaws and unleashed a deafening sea god roar. My divine-level sonic skill erupted at full power. The Moling clan warriors at the very front were instantly shattered by the shockwave. Black blood stained the entire sea. Right after that, I activated my max-level burst acceleration. My 120-meter-long body shot off like a golden lightning bolt, instantly breaking through the encirclement of the Moling clan. I dashed madly toward the East China Sea of Waxia. The Moling clan army chased me ferociously from behind. Countless black energy attacks came crashing at me hard. I activated my divine-level high-strength defense. A golden shield enveloped my entire body. I tanked all attacks head-on, without my speed decreasing in the slightest. Ding! Host is under attack from Moling clan dark energy. Sea god's body is corroded. Self-healing ability decreased by 30%. Ding! Warning. Global coastal defense lines are under attack by mutated Moling clan organisms. Multiple lines are at critical status. Ding! Warning. Moling clan pollution waves detected in the East Sea region. The defense line has initiated top-level red alert. My heart sank to the bottom. I was still a step too late. The Moling clan's invasion is even faster than I imagined. I have to hurry back as fast as I can. Otherwise, the tragedy of my previous life will repeat itself, but in a bloodier way. Racing all the way. It only took me an hour to return to the East Sea region, but the sight before me made my heart twist instantly. What used to be the clear blue East Sea is now covered by black pollution bands. Countless mutated marine creatures were ferociously attacking the coastal defense line. Roars of artillery fire, screams, and sirens filled the skies. General Zhao Yingquan stood on the command ship, commanding the battle with a grave expression. The soldiers held the line and fought to the death, not giving an inch. Hai Bai led the pot of orcas. Xia Hong led the Marine Coalition Army, both standing at the very front of the defense line, engaged in a brutal battle with the mutated creatures. Hai Bai's body already had several deep, bone-revealing wounds. Fresh blood colored the sea around him red. Yet he continued leading the orcas, charging the mutated creatures time and time again, holding back the onslaught by force of will. Xia Hong was not better off either. Several of his tentacles had been bitten off by the mutated creatures. Although he regrew them using Leviathan's regeneration ability, his aura had already weakened significantly. Still, he stood at the front, buying precious attack time for the human warriors behind him. Seeing me return, Bai Bai let out an excited yet exhausted cry. Xia Hong also looked at me, giving a low, aggrieved, and urgent moan. Looking at my wounded companions, and the warriors fighting for their lives on the front line, an overwhelming fury erupted from deep within me. How dare they hurt my people and invade my homeland? I suddenly opened my massive jaws and unleashed my divine-level sonic skill at full force. The mutated creatures attacking the front line had their brains shattered instantly by the blast, falling to the bottom of the sea one after another. Immediately, I triggered my Ocean Affinity passive and issued combat commands to all marine life in the East Sea. Countless schools of fish, shark pods, and whale pods came surging from all directions to join the battle. They formed an overwhelming Marine Coalition army and launched a counterattack against the mutated creatures, successfully commanded all marine life in the East Sea. Marine Coalition army surpassed 1 million in size. D-Host successfully repelled the mutated creatures' assault on the East Sea, gained 1,000 evolution points. D-Host level increased to 42. Body length increased to 130 meters. Sea God body corrosion effect cleared. The crisis at the front line was eliminated in an instant. The warriors saw my return and erupted in thunderous cheers. I slowly swam to the front of the command ship and used Morse code to report what I discovered in the Tonga Trench. the truth of the Moling clan, and the plot of the fallen sea god remnant soul, to General Zhao Yingquan word by word. After listening, General Zhao Yingquan turned pale. The command baton in his hand slammed heavily onto the deck. He had studied the ocean all his life, but had never known that deep in the sea, such a terrifying ancient species was hiding. Nor did he know that all our past victories had just been traps meticulously designed by the enemy. Sea God, what should we do now? There was urgency in General Zhao Yingquan's voice, but not a hint of panic. The defense lines of all nations around the world are now in crisis, and Moling clan pollution is spreading at an alarming speed. At most 3 days, the entire ocean will be completely polluted. Right at that moment, Xia Yu rushed over with his deep-sea exploration team. Hurried and breathless, he was holding a tablet, his face extremely grim. General, Sea God, we just deciphered the ancient inscriptions, sent back from the ancient city of Atlantis, and discovered the full truth about the Ocean Guardians and the Moling clan. In ancient times, in order to fight the Moling clan, the Ocean Guardians sealed all their people's power within the sea god's core. Only a true successor with a heart to protect can unlock all the power stored in the core. What you unlocked before was only 1/10 of the sea god's core's power. And to unlock the ultimate power of the sea god's core, I need to collect the 5 guardian shards scattered in the deepest parts of the world's 5 oceans. These 5 shards are each sealed in the Mariana Trench, the Tonga Trench, Puerto Rico Trench, the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, and the Peru-Chile Trench. Only by gathering all the shards can I fully awaken the sea god's core and wipe out the demon spirit clan. Then reseal all the trench nodes around the world. I felt a sudden jolt in my heart. So that's how it is. No wonder I felt that the sea god's core wasn't unleashing its full power. Turns out, I only unlocked 1/10 of its strength. To completely annihilate the demon spirit clan, I must collect all 5 guardian shards and awaken the sea god's core's ultimate power. But these 5 shards are each hidden in the deepest trenches of the 5 oceans.
And now?
All these trenches have become the lairs of the demon spirit clan. To collect the shards, we have to break through their heavy defenses and march deep into their strongholds. This is like snatching prey from a tiger's mouth. A near-death mission. Just as I was pondering my plan, the system alert suddenly rang out in my mind. Ultimate main quest Guardian's Legacy detected. Mission objective activated. Collect the 5 guardian shards from the deepest parts of the 5 oceans. Awaken the sea god's core's ultimate power. Completely wipe out the demon spirit clan. Reseal all global trench nodes. Protect peace on Blue Star. Mission rewards. Unlock Ocean Guardian's ultimate divine form. Break all skill level caps to the divine rank. Gain permanent control over Blue Star's oceans. The system will permanently bind itself to the host. Unlock unlimited evolution potential. Mission failure penalties. Total invasion by the demon spirit clan. Blue Star will be completely lost. All life will be wiped out. Looking at the missions on the system panel, my eyes instantly became determined. In my past life, to protect Waxia, I was willing to give up my life, this time for the sake of Blue Star, to protect the 1.4 billion people behind me, and all life. It's not just about risking my life. Even if I have to walk through fire and flames, I'm willing to give it a try. I immediately used Morse code to inform General Zhao Yingquan of my plan. I'm going to split our forces into 5 teams and coordinate operations worldwide. The human armies will be responsible for holding the coastal defenses around the world to resist the demon spirit clan's attacks, while I'll lead my ocean coalition forces to the ocean trenches of the 5 great seas to gather all the guardian shards. General Zhao Yingquan didn't hesitate at all and immediately agreed. He contacted the top leaders of all nations right away and shared the truth about the demon spirit clan and my plan with everyone. Within just 1 hour, every nation on Earth reached a consensus, forming a global united defense line, uniting all of humanity to buy me time. Hold the coastal defense line. Cover me and the Guardian Shard. Su Wan is leading the world's top medical team. Formed dozens of battlefield medical squads. Rushed to defense lines all over the world, ready to treat injured soldiers and sea creatures at any time. Xia Yu is leading the deep sea exploration team, providing me with satellite navigation 24/7 and trench terrain detection. Accurately pinpoint the location of each guardian shard. Jia, who is leading the nation's fishing fleet, formed the maritime supply team, providing continuous material support for global defense lines and my ocean coalition, providing an endless supply of resources. Jeremy Ward traveled across every sea in the world, using his influence, called on global marine conservation organizations to join the battle, to protect these blue oceans together. Akong led the native Arctic tribes and formed the Arctic Defense Line, firmly held the Bering Strait at the Arctic Ocean, blocked the demonic army surging from the Arctic Trench. Those who sacrificed in the past to protect humanity are now once again standing by my side in this life. Early the next morning, the global joint operation officially began. All coastal defense lines opened fire simultaneously. Countless shells were hurled fiercely at mutated sea creatures. Human armies held the line to the death, fighting a life-and-death battle against the vanguard of the Demon Spirit clan. I split my forces into 5 groups, beginning the journey to gather all the Guardian Shards. Haibai led the main force of the Orcus, headed to the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench in the Arctic Ocean, seeking the first Guardian Shard. Zhao Heng led the Deep Sea Coalition with Leviathan Bloodline, headed to the Puerto Rico Trench in the Atlantic, searching for the second Guardian Shard. I contacted the Emperor Penguin tribes and blue whales in Antarctica. They formed the Antarctic Coalition forces, heading to the Peru-Chile Trench in the South Pacific, searching for the third Guardian Shard. Jerry Ward led the world's top deep-sea exploration team, cooperated with my ocean coalition to head to the Mariana Trench, searching for the fourth Guardian Shard. As for me, I personally headed to the Demon Spirit clan's base, the Tonga Trench in the South Pacific, looking for the last and most crucial Guardian Shard. This journey was destined to be full of dangers and fierce battles, but not one of us backed down. To protect these oceans, to defend our home, we have no other choice. When I arrived again at the Tonga Trench, it had already become the lair of the Demon Spirit clan. Countless demon warriors patrolled around the trench. Black pollution kept gushing from the depths of the trench. The entire sea reeked of suffocating malice. I activated max-level Master of Disguise, mimicked my body to become a massive underwater reef, restrained all my aura, silently advanced toward the depths of the trench, heading into the deep sea. Skills triggered the whole way. Even the top demon spirit warriors couldn't detect my presence. The deeper I went into the trench, the more demon warriors there were around me, and the worse the pollution became. Even as a sea god, I felt an icy chill. On my system panel, the radiation value was skyrocketing, already more than 10,000 times the critical limit. Ding, Guardian Shard signal detected. Location, deepest part of the Tonga Trench. Seal location of the Demon Spirit Lord. Ding, warning. Demon Spirit Lord's life signal detected. Level far beyond current. Cognition, threat level. Contempt, currently in sealed slumber. About to awaken. My heart sank sharply. So the most crucial Guardian Shard is actually at the Demon Spirit Lord's seal. It turns out the remnants of the fallen sea god hide here. To awaken the Demon Spirit Lord. Once the Lord wakes up, Blue Star is truly doomed. I didn't hesitate at all. Continued toward the very depths of the trench. Even if it's a death trap ahead, I have to break through. Get the Guardian Shard. This is our only chance. 2 hours later, I finally reached the bottom of the Tonga Trench, one of the deepest places on Earth. Water pressure strong enough to crush the hardest alloy. Yet here stood a massive black palace, with countless ancient sealing runes carved around the palace. The sealing site of the Demon Spirit Lord. In the very center of the palace, a golden diamond-shaped shard floated, radiating warm and majestic power. There it was, the core Guardian Shard I was seeking. Beneath the shard, a boundless mass of black mist was sealed, concealing a terrifying silhouette within. It was the slumbering Demon Spirit Lord. The remnant soul of the fallen sea god floated beside the shard, relentlessly using dark energy, attacking the protective barrier around the shard, muttering over and over, "It's almost time. Just break this last barrier. The Lord can fully awaken. Then Blue Star will be ours." seeing the guardian shard so close. A plan instantly formed in my mind. Now it was the perfect moment. Catch him off guard, take him out in one strike, grab the shard and retreat immediately. I suddenly deactivated Master of Disguise, boosted my speed to the max. My 130-meter golden body shot out like lightning. Before the fallen sea god's remnant could react, I bit down on the guardian shard. Ding! Successfully obtained the core guardian shard from the Tonga Trench. 1 out of 5 shards collected. Sea god core power unlocked. 20%. Ding! Ocean purification skill power doubled. Now able to purify demon spirit clan's dark pollution. As the system prompt sounded, the remnant of the fallen sea god finally reacted. When he saw the guardian shard in my mouth, he let out a hysterical screech. "It's you! How dare you break in here? Put that shard down." He instantly turned into a black torrent and charged at me ferociously. All the demon warriors nearby reacted at the same time. Countless black attacks rained down on me. I had no intention of fighting them. The moment I got the shard, I triggered deep sea stealth, turned and dashed crazily out of the trench. At the same time, I opened my enormous mouth, activated the upgraded ocean evolution. Brilliant golden light erupted from my mouth. Wherever it touched, the black pollution was instantly purified. Charging demon warriors shrieked in agony. Their bodies slowly dissolved in the golden light. The remnant of the fallen sea god was also hit by the golden light. Let out a scream of pain. Its presence weakened, greatly seizing the chance. I burst out of the Tonga Trench and sprinted toward the East China Sea. But before I'd gone far, from deep within the trench, an utterly terrifying aura suddenly burst out. A black energy wave chased after me like a tsunami. It was the demon spirit lord. He had been awakened. The black energy wave instantly caught up with me and slammed hard into my back. Even god-level high defenses were shattered in an instant. It felt like I was hit by an asteroid and smashed down fiercely to the bottom of the sea. A mouthful of golden blood spurted from my mouth. Warning, host. Attacked by the lord of the demon spirit tribe. Severely injured. Poseidon's body is on the verge of collapse. Warning, the demon spirit lord's seal is weakening. About to fully awaken. Seals at global ocean trenches collapsing simultaneously. I gritted my teeth, endured the pain and activated short-range acceleration again. Rushed forward desperately. The black mist behind me kept getting closer. The demon spirit lord's roar was like a curse, constantly echoing in my mind, making me dizzy and lightheaded. At this life-or-death moment, a familiar sound of orcas suddenly came from ahead.
Hey, Bay actually brought the orcapod.
Rushed from the coral trench to support me. Hey, Bay led the orcapod, like black lightning striking over, and blocked behind me, facing the approaching black mist. Let out a deafening cry, using their bodies to build a defensive line for me. Then Zhao Hong led the deep-sea allied forces over as well. He has already successfully obtained the guardian fragment of the Puerto Rico Trench. Countless thick tentacles slammed hard at the surface, stirring up massive waves, blocking the pursuit of the demon spirit army. Successfully acquired the guardian fragment of the Coral Trench and its 2/5 fragments. 40% of Poseidon's core power unlocked. Successfully acquired the guardian fragment of the Puerto Rico Trench. 3 out of 5 fragments gathered. 60% of Poseidon's core power unlocked. Poseidon's body fully repaired. Level increased to 45. Body length increased to 150 meters. The power of the 3 fragments instantly combined. A surge of immense power flooded through my body. All my wounds healed instantly. My strength skyrocketed several times over. I turned and looked at the pursuing demon spirit army, opened my giant mouth, and let out a Poseidon roar. The upgraded sonic wave skill swept out instantly. The pursuing demon spirit army was shattered to pieces by the blast. The remnant soul of the fallen sea god was swept by the sound wave as well. Let out a scream of despair. Was completely obliterated. Not a single trace was left. This wicked fallen sea god has finally disappeared from this world for good. But we had no time to celebrate, because from both the Mariana Trench and the Peru-Chile Trench came urgent news at the same time. The main army of the demon spirit tribe is besieging those 2 sea areas. The allied forces guarding the fragments are barely holding on. I immediately issued an order. Split our forces Hebei with the Orcapod. Go support the Peru-Chile Trench. I will lead Zhao Hong and the Deep Sea Allied Forces to support the Mariana Trench. A global-scale battle has officially begun. When Zhao Hong and I arrived at the Mariana Trench, the battle there was already at a fever pitch. The expedition team led by Jeremy Wade and my ocean allied forces were completely surrounded by hundreds of thousands of demon spirit warriors and running out of ammo and supplies. The trench's seal had been completely destroyed. Countless demon spirit warriors were continually pouring out of the trench. The besieged allied forces instantly erupted in a thunderous cheer. I didn't hesitate for a second. With Zhao Hong and the Deep Sea Alliance, I charged straight into the demon spirit clan's encirclement, like a golden blade, forcefully tearing open a path. Ocean evolution was fully activated. Everywhere the golden light touched, the demon spirit clan dissolved one after another. The black pollution was instantly purified. The devouring skill was triggered at the same time. With each demon spirit clan warrior I devoured, my evolution points skyrocketed. My power kept growing stronger. Host successfully devoured a demon spirit clan elite warrior. Gained 500 evolution points. Ding! Host level increased to 48. Body length increased to 180 meters. Ding! Successfully obtained Mariana Trench Guardian Shard. 4 out of 5 shards collected. Poseidon's core power unlocked at 80%. God level skill unlocked. Wrath of Poseidon. Can harness ocean energy. Deals devastating blows to targets. The moment I obtained the 4th shard, Hebei also brought good news. They successfully repelled Peru and the demon spirit clan's army in the Chile Trench. They acquired the final Guardian Shard. All 5 Guardian Shards successfully collected. Poseidon's core ultimate power unlocked.
Tada.
Congratulations to the host for inheriting the ancient Ocean Guardian. Entire tribe heritage. Ultimate god-level form of the Ocean Guardian unlocked. Tada. All skills surpass god-level limits. Ocean evolution can now cover every sea on Earth. All demon spirit clan pollution can be completely eradicated. Tada. Gained absolute control over all global oceans. Can command the power of every ocean in the world. With a single thought, I can stir the seas and overturn the waves. The system prompts went off in rapid succession. The 5 golden guardian shards instantly fused within my consciousness, transforming into a dazzling beam of golden light, and merged completely with Poseidon's core. An indescribable surge of immense power, like a cosmic explosion, erupted throughout my entire body. My form rapidly grew in a golden glow, from 180 meters to an astonishing 300 meters. My entire body became covered in golden scales. Countless ancient guardian runes lit up across my body. I could clearly sense the currents of every ocean zone in the world, the movement of every single fish, the rise and fall of every part of the ocean floor, all under my control. I am the ocean. The ocean is me. The moment I fully awakened to my ultimate form, a surge of world-shattering black energy erupted from the direction of the Tonga Trench. The demon spirit lord completely broke free from his seal, causing the entire blue star to tremble violently. Dark fog poured from trenches in every ocean around the world. At the same time, boundless black mist billowed out. As the entire demon spirit clan army finally unleashed its full might, the sky was shrouded in black mist. Sunlight could no longer reach the sea. The whole world seemed to descend instantly into hell. The demon spirit lord's form slowly rose from the Tonga Trench. His body was over a kilometer long, his entire form enveloped in black mist. 2 scarlet eyes glowed like blood-red moons, fixated right on me.
Insignificant guardian. Inheritor.
You think gathering the shards will stop me? His voice echoed across the entire blue star. No matter if on land or in the sea, every living being could hear him clearly. 10 million years ago, your ancestors used everything they had but never managed to kill me. They could only seal me away. And yet you think you can stand against me. Now, I give you 2 choices. Offer your body as my vessel, and I might spare humanity. Let them become our slaves. Or I'll utterly crush you, and take the life of every being on this planet for your burial. I stared at his form, blotting out the sun. and felt the terrifying power radiating from him, but felt not the slightest fear inside. If my ancestors could seal him away 10 million years ago, then I can destroy him now. I slowly raised my head and let out a roar that shook the world. My voice carried through the oceans, reaching every corner of the globe, and was heard by everyone. I'll give you two choices. Go back to your trench and be sealed once again. I'll let you die with your body intact. Or I'll use the power of the ocean to erase you and your demon spirit clan from this world forever. These oceans are the cradle of life. They're not your hunting grounds for evil. This blue star is our home. You have no place to run wild here. As soon as I finished speaking, every ocean in the world echoed my roar, and tidal waves surged sky high. Countless marine creatures began pouring in from every ocean, forming a mighty ocean alliance, and stood behind me, fighting by my side. On the shore, the armies of humanity from around the world all raised their weapons at once, every cannon and gun. Billions around the globe stood together and fought alongside me in their own way. The demon spirit lord was completely enraged by my words and let out a deafening roar. The black mist in the sky turned into countless streams of dark force and came crashing down on me and the whole earth. You ignorant fool. If you crave death, I'll give it to you. I'll see to it every living thing on this blue star dies with you. Facing the crashing dark energy, I remained unfazed and slowly opened my massive jaws, summoning the power of all the oceans on Earth, and unleashed my ultimate God-tier skill, the strongest power of the ancient ocean guardian, Oceanic Sanctuary. In an instant, all the oceans around the globe soared into the sky, a boundless expanse of seawater, transformed into a golden wall stretching from earth to sky, blocking the dark blades. Countless golden dragons of water rose from the sea and surged toward the demon spirit lord. Golden water dragons and black blades collided. A deafening boom shook heaven and earth. A thunderous roar echoed across the world. The black blades were instantly shredded by the water dragons. The golden tide, like a tsunami, swept toward the demon spirit lord. The demon spirit lord let out a howl of disbelief. He couldn't comprehend how I could control the oceanic power of the whole blue star. He unleashed his dark energy in a frenzy, trying to fend off the golden surge, but his dark power was instantly dissolved by the ocean guardian's might. Like ice meeting blazing sun, the golden tide instantly drowned his body. I activated oceanic purification at max level. An endless golden glow enveloped him completely. He let out a piercing, tortured scream. His massive body dissolved bit by bit in the light, slowly falling apart. Impossible! I waited millions of years for this. I refused to accept this. Those were his last words left in this world. Afterwards, his entire body was completely purified by the golden light. He vanished between heaven and earth. Not a single trace was left behind. With the complete demise of the demon spirit tribe's ruler, the global black mist dispersed instantly. Sunlight poured on the ocean surface once again. I activated ocean purification once more. Golden light surged like tides, sweeping across every sea on the planet, every ocean trench. All the black pollution was thoroughly purified. All remaining forces of the demon spirit tribe were completely eliminated. This crisis that swept across the globe was finally brought to a complete end. As the golden light faded, sunlight once again blanketed the entire blue planet. The ocean that had been polluted returned to its clear, deep blue color. Sunlight sparkled on the surface of the sea. Countless marine creatures joyfully swam in the water. There was a deathly silence along the coast at first. Then it erupted into deafening cheers. Countless people hugged each other and cried, waving nonstop toward the ocean, shouting over and over, "We won. We completely won. We defended our home." Congratulations to the host for successfully eliminating the demon spirit tribe's ruler, completely eradicating the entire demon spirit tribe, completing the ultimate main quest guardian's legacy.
Ding.
Congratulations, host, for becoming the sole guardian of the blue planet's oceans. Gain permanent and absolute control over the blue planet's oceans. Ding. System has completed its ultimate mission. Will bind to the host permanently. Unlocked limitless evolution permissions. Will accompany the host in protecting all life across the global oceans. Prestige value maxed out. Obtained the title, Blue Planet Sea God. I gently descended onto the surface of the sea. My body was 300 meters long, glowing with soft golden light under the sun. He Bei led the pod of killer whales. Jia Hong brought the Deep Sea Coalition, and billions of marine creatures worldwide, all gathered around me, letting out joyful calls. General Jia Yingquan came with representatives from all nations, arriving in research vessels right in front of me. The gray-haired old general bowed deeply to me. All the world's representatives bowed to me in unison, showing their highest respect. Thank you, Sea God. Thank you for protecting the entire blue planet. I gently swayed my tail fin, stirring up a wave of gentle ripples. I told them in Morse code not to thank me. I protect this ocean and defend this home. It is my responsibility as well as every living being's. The story ended more perfectly than anyone could have imagined. The demon spirit tribe was completely annihilated and corrupted. The sea god's soul was also utterly scattered. Global nuclear radiation and pollution were fully purified. Countries worldwide jointly issued the Blue Planet Ocean Protection Treaty. This is the strictest and most comprehensive marine protection law in history. All nuclear pollution discharge was entirely banned. Illegal fishing was completely eradicated. Hundreds of marine ecological protection zones were established worldwide. Trillions were invested to restore ocean ecosystems. The coral reefs that were once destroyed have regrown with vibrant colors. They've become a paradise for fish. Marine creatures that were once on the verge of extinction have begun to rapidly recover in numbers. The entire ocean is thriving once again. It's more dazzling and beautiful than ever before. As the guardian of Blue Planet's oceans, I didn't hide away in the ancient city of Atlantis.
Instead, I remained in the East China Sea of Waxia.
The marine sanctuary expanded for me by the nation has become the most famous marine haven in the world. Every day, tourists from around the globe come here to catch a glimpse of the mighty sea god shark that protects Blue Planet. They learn about marine conservation. They wholeheartedly experience the beauty of the ocean. Every day, fishing boats from all over the world bring the freshest and finest ingredients to the East China Sea to feed me and my ocean partners. Netizens joke that now the top fisheries worldwide are honored to supply me. With my appetite alone, I could support half of the world's fishermen. I've never let down those who love me.
Every day.
I always take Jia Hong and Hebei on patrols within the sanctuary. We perform splash shows for the young visitors who come to see me and paint rainbows. Sometimes I lead groups of gentle whales to sail alongside the sightseeing boats, bringing countless surprises to the tourists. During my free time, I lead my Marine Legion on patrols across seas around the world. We clean up ocean trash, rescue injured marine life, and combat illegal fishing. We protect this vast blue ocean. Together with Xie Yu's team, I explored countless unknown mysteries of the deep sea. We discovered hundreds of new marine species, unveiled countless secrets of ancient oceans. We've helped humanity gain a deeper understanding and respect for this ocean. I know my journey as a guardian will never end. As long as this ocean needs me, as long as my family needs me, I will always be here as the sea god of Waxia, as the guardian of Blue Planet's oceans, using everything I have to protect this ocean that gave birth to life.